It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hi, I'm Courtney Forrest.
I'm Tony Schumacher.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan.
This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event, they are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
What's up, NHRA fans? Welcome back to WFO Radio NHRA Nitro podcast, where you will hear NHRA Mellow Yellow Series winners. And we have got the Dodge Nationals winners on this show. Race 1 of the NHRA Countdown, J.R. Todd, back-to-back wins. We've got J.R. Todd. Vincent Nobile, this guy wins in Maple Grove a lot. Vincent Nobile going to be on the show. Steve Torrence, Hector Arana Jr. We're working on everybody. Stick around. You're going to love it. Plus, headed to St. Louis, which means SAMTech Factory Stock Showdown. Brian Massingill going to be on the show. We're also going to reach out and try to connect with some Lucas Oil Series racers, maybe Sean Bellemeur. We're working on it as we get ready for the next NHRA Countdown race. Now, the Dodge Nationals, just tremendous. But I got to say, before we go any further, to our friends in the Carolinas, North Carolina, South Carolina, North Georgia, everybody in that area that you are affected by Hurricane Florence, we're thinking about you. As a South Floridian who has had to deal with Category 5 hurricanes coming right at me in the past couple of years, I can tell you it is not fun, and witnessing what you guys are going through with the flooding and the rivers rising and all of that, that's a little alien to me because we don't have to deal with mountains or topography or any of that. So if you're a WFO radio listener and you're in that part of the country and you have been affected, you're an NHRA racer and you have been affected, we are thinking about you. We know what it's like. And when I say we, I mean me, I mean Giovanni in Miami, and everybody down here, my family. We know what it's like. It's anxiety. It's difficult. It's challenging. There's a whole lot of work just to clean up afterwards, even if you got no damage. So we are thinking about you. And thank you for listening right now. You should really be, maybe you're listening while you're cleaning up. Who knows? But listen to the officials. Be careful. Water, danger. There you go. Now, we got great guests. We got a great show. Lots going on. The archive is rocking. But our sponsors make it all possible. We have got some great sponsors like CatSpotLitter.com. How about Scott Palmer? My goodness, Scott Palmer. He has been a couple of thou to the wrong side so many times. I know Scott's got a great attitude about it, and it's going to turn around. But a couple of thou here and there, and he's winning a lot of races. So they got to keep the hammer down, keep after it. CatSpotLitter.com, supporting them and supporting us. If you've got a cat, check out CatSpotLitter.com. Rodax, CoffeeAndGrills.com. Get yourself some Funny Car Chaos coffee. Or think about the holidays that are coming. Get one of those holiday packs. This is how you should handle all your Christmas gifts through Marvin Rodak. Who doesn't like coffee, hot sauce, and spice rub? Plus, Marvin this past weekend was out in Texas at, I guess it's North Star Dragway. They had an event, Funny Car Chaos is what it was called. Rodax was on the property. It is very, very cool. HusseyPerformance.net. Hussey Performance on the side of Sean Bellemeur's car. Hussey Performance on the side of the WFO race car that is this podcast. Copper head gaskets, made in America, the most accurate for any application. Great stuff. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. That's what we always push because if you're a listener, maybe you want to drive a dragster. Go to frankhawley.com. I think this is a great gift for the holidays as well. And yes, I'm starting early on the holidays. If Home Depot does it, I'm doing it. SAMTech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. More of a career thing. And the best part about it, you can learn whether it be EFI or machining or CNC, but they can help place you. SAMTech.edu, if you go, let them know you heard it on WFO Radio. Motorsportsguys.com, Terry McMillan's new venture. Amalie Motor Oil, mail order. If you're going to change your oil, you can get the filter. You can get everything right from motorsportsguys.com. And you can get a free Vegas Tribute win hat, which is really cool. Just use the promo code WFO at checkout. You got to add it to your cart, and it'll be free. Free. That's great. Aerospacecomponents.com. Kim Cussy and her team, located in Tampa. Brakes, shifters, pedals. Lots of cool stuff. Vacuum pumps for your race car, for your street rod, for your hot rod, for anything you want to look awesome and cool and function great. Aerospace Components, brakes on many, many cars out there. High-performance stuff like the titanium wave brake rotor, all of that. Hangstifers, metalworking lubricants. The idea is to make you more efficient in the shop. By using Hangstifers, you can go faster, you can be more precise. They had the big trade show a week ago, and I have heard from WFO radio listeners that were out there that went. They met with Antron. They hung out. It was great stuff. Thanks to the folks in Hangstifers for including WFO in their presentation. Great stuff. And finally, audible.com/WFO Nitro. And I know what you're thinking. Audible.com. Aren't those the guys? And the answer is yes. Go to audible.com/WFO Nitro and start searching for various books that you can listen to while you travel, like I do when you're in the car, while you're driving. Say WFO is finished, and you want to listen to something like a book about the GT40 and Ford, or whatever you're into. A lot of motorsports on audible.com/WFO Nitro. There you go, our great sponsors, along with Drag Racing Edge Magazine, EV3 Drag Racing, Alton, BigFishTools.com, who does the sites for Coletta Motorsports. I'm sure he's rocking out with all the big stuff that is going on over there. JR Todd winning races, crazy stuff. Alton at BigFishTools.com. On with the show. Joining us now, he is the voice of the NHRA, called the action out there at the Grove, race 1 of the countdown, will be calling the action in St. Louis. Alan Reinhart is back. Alan, welcome back.
Hey, Joe, great to be back. Great to be back. Heck of an event out there at the Grove. I'm really sorry you couldn't make it, and I want you to know that that you were missed. There were a lot of fans and a lot of folks that were asking where you were and wished you were going to be there with us.
Well, thank you for saying that, Alan. I really appreciate it. And in fact, I'm surprised at that fact. Not that, I don't try to do a good job and do a great job and all of that, and certainly that part of the country. But once the race cars are on track, I think the last thing you're thinking about is some announcer. And I was humbled and blown away by all the people reaching out, asking about my health. Like, am I okay? What's my well-being? Why am I not there? All of those reasons. So for you to say that, I really appreciate it. And thank you.
Well, look forward to having the whole team back together this weekend in St. Louis.
Yes. Well, I certainly hope so as well. And I'm hoping for great weather, and I'm hoping for another great race. It appeared to be a great race. And just so you know, there are benefits to watching on NHRA All Access. Like, I get to see that show as well. And it is such a great show. If there are fans that are not watching on NHRA All Access, it is fantastic. And the TV show, I got to watch them both, basically. I got to watch All Access during real time, and I got to watch the TV show a little bit later. And it just top to bottom, great race, starting off with Steve Torrence, who was next level intense.
Yeah, he definitely was. He's on a mission this year. They've been talking about it all season long. They felt like they let one get away last year, and they don't intend to make that same mistake twice. So they were laser focused, even though, throughout qualifying, I don't think there was any question that Clay Millican had the best car. Clay Millican made up a lot of ground as far as little points go throughout the 4 qualifying sessions. But come race day, it was Steve that carried the day again.
Yeah, Steve, and they are on a mission. You said it last week. You basically said you can see the like everything lined up from last year to this year. They've been focused on this countdown. They've got to win it, cementing this Capco period in drag racing history. Steve didn't even want to do interviews, from what I understand.
That's true. He informed the NHRA and Fox team, and he told Brian Lones, he said, "Look, you can talk to me after I win the race. I don't want to be sidetracked. I don't want to." And he actually said to me in the winner's circle, and I said, "Well, now that it's over with," I said, and he said, "I figured if I don't talk, I can't put my foot in my mouth." And I said, "Yeah, but that makes it a whole lot less fun for us." Obviously, you've been through enough of their winner's circle celebrations. You know that they are pretty raucous affairs, and they were definitely having a good time by the time Steve got up on stage. No, great.
It is great. It is great that Steve and those guys are able to come out of the box so strong. And, no stumbles, none of that, so they can battle for the countdown. But final round opponent, Tony Schumacher, 50 points back. Clay Millican, 50 points back. Even after one race, we've had only one race, you can see it starting to take shape.
True, but, Tony Schumacher had a really good car. And the fact that they smoked the tires in the final, that's, just one of those things. That's going to happen from time to time. But they had a really good car. Clay Milliken had an okay car, really. And I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything that they wouldn't tell you. During qualifying, they were okay. They certainly weren't Clay Milliken. Clay Milliken was a superstar in qualifying. And when they had to run Mike Salinas without lane choice, they were able to win that one. When they had to run Clay without lane choice, Steve beat him off the start line and won it on one of my classic little baby hole shots. But they certainly had a great car on race day. And, you know, having Steve in the left lane, I think, was a big thing because there were some fans that were grumbling a little bit about everybody in the right lane wins. Everybody in the right lane wins. Well, Steve Torrence won 4 rounds on Sunday, 2 in the right lane, 2 in the left lane. So if your guy couldn't navigate the left lane, don't blame the racetrack. It could be done. You just had to be smart enough to do it.
There you go. And so Steve Torrence will be on the show. We're going to hear from Steve. Fortunately, he does grant us an interview after the win, and I appreciate that. Moving over to Funny Car, J.R. Todd. Oh, boy, Alan. Here we go. Wins the U.S. Nationals. And it's almost like they telegraphed the whole deal back in Norwalk. Our season starts now, the 10th anniversary. Scott Coletta, obviously the thing was moved from Englishtown, which did not run this year. Our season starts now, and they have been working and tinkering and improving. And right here at the U.S. Nationals, they win it back-to-back years and then win back-to-back races. First race of the countdown. JR looking tough every run in the threes in the eliminations.
Yeah, he had a strong car, no doubt. Robert Hyde also had a very strong car before he went red in the semis against Tim Wilkerson. Tim looked really good in qualifying. Made 2 real solid runs. Made one where they had a fuel system malfunction that I'm trying to get the footage laid off for. You're going to be seeing a lot of that because it's a very visual example of one of the things we talk about as far as when the cars are thrust steering. But Tim Wilkerson had a great car, just didn't quite have enough in the final. But that funny car thing, I still think is wide open. JR in Indy, JR had the car to beat. Qualified number 1, was very strong in all the qualifying sessions, looked great from the time they took it off the hauler until the time they put it away after spraying it with mellow yellow on Monday afternoon. But in Reading, not so much in qualifying. And I'm not saying they were awful, but they definitely didn't look like the absolute dominant car. And then come Sunday, they certainly put it all together. But, and I think you got to give a tip of the cap to Robert Hyde's team, Jimmy Prock and Chris Cunningham, because they didn't qualify well at all. I mean, they were 11th or 12th, if I'm not mistaken. And then they come up in the first round in the left lane that, the left lane was not where you wanted to be if you had an opportunity. Again, you could run down the left lane, but it wouldn't be your first choice. And when that car came up and went 394, Jimmy Prock, who is, as many times you talk to him, he doesn't get real high. He doesn't get real low. He's like, hey, this stuff ain't easy. And when the car runs good, it's like, okay. And when the car doesn't run good, he's like, hey, this stuff ain't easy. But he's not a manic depressive guy. He's a very even keeled, always thinking about the next run. And on the way walking off the starting line, he and Chris Cunningham snuck like a little baby fist bump. And I was sitting up in the tower watching it, and I specifically said, I don't know how many of you people saw that, but that was about as an egregious display of, hey, we finally got it, as you're ever going to see out of those guys. And then they had a mean race car the rest of the day until Robert Hyde hit the gas a little bit early in the semifinals. But they are going to be players down to the wire, mark my words.
Well, exactly. Uncharacteristic of Robert to have that 022 red. Did you happen to talk to him? Was it just one of those moments? Everybody has them eventually, and the more green lights you have, eventually you're going to have a red light. It's just going to happen, and it happened here.
I did not talk to him. I didn't have an opportunity to, during the race. There just wasn't any time to get away with just the two of us being there. And after the race, I didn't get a chance to track him down. But, Robert's a very focused professional, and I think it was just one of them things. Sometimes you get a long tree, you get a long random count, and your foot decides to go before your brain says it's time. And if there's one thing I know about Robert from watching him all these years, he got out of the car at the end of the racetrack and muttered a few words under his breath. And by the time he got in the tow vehicle, he had put it behind him because he doesn't carry that stuff with him. It's, what, we can't go back and fix that. Let's focus on what we have to do next, and let's go do it. And I expect them to be pretty serious contenders in St. Louis, especially since that's a AAA race.
Absolutely. I feel like with the countdown, and I want your opinion, but like a semifinal appearance, while it is not a win, it is a successful countdown race. Depending, of course, on what you do in the other races. But for Robert and Ron and Wilk And JR, like they made the semis, getting past first and second round, that is a big deal in the countdown.
It absolutely is, and especially with Courtney going out round one. When the point leader goes out round one, Robert's going to leave St. Louis or leave Reading in second place in the points. JR is point leader now coming out of there. And I said it last week, is you don't have to win the first race or the first two races, but you can't go out first round the first two races. If you go semifinals the first two races, then you are now a contender the rest of the way, and you have to at least do that. And I think that all of those four cars that you just mentioned accomplished it. I don't think there was a person in the place that saw Courtney smoking the tires in the first round coming. She had a great car in qualifying, qualified number one like she's done so many times this year. And, Brian and Dan seem to have a pretty good handle on that car, especially since we started off with a track temperature of like 101 degrees or something like that. It was just like Courtney Force kind of day at the races, but they overpowered it a little bit in the middle, and Mike Smith was able to take advantage, and that opened the door for everybody else to start putting points in place. Now, if I'm Courtney, it certainly isn't panic time. We know what that car's done and what that team's done all year long, but Courtney cannot have that same thing happen in St. Louis. If she does, I'm not saying she's done, but that's a big, big hole you're digging yourself. You can get one mulligan, you can't have two, especially not the first two races.
No, I agree. In terms of like the spotlight, the pressure word that we talk about. I don't really like to use it, but now it's on. You've led the points all year long. You got Brian Karate over there. You've been dominating all year long. Stumble, first round, first race, countdown, race two. How do you perform? Do you bounce back, go to the semis or a final or win, or do you go out early? If you go out early, your goose might be cooked.
Well, you're definitely not helping yourself. And, I don't expect them to go out early, but, you just never know. And again, Brian Karate's been around this a long time, and he's also a guy that, you're not going to see him doing backflips on the starting line, and you're also not going to see him tripping over his lip when something bad goes wrong. He's a really smart guy, and he understands that sometimes these things happen, but you just now have to focus on going forward and making sure it doesn't happen again. And again, I didn't have a chance to get out and do a lot of pit searching during the course of the day, but I've got to believe if they could pinpoint why the car did that they will feel a whole lot better. If they go back and they look at it and, man, everything was perfect and it did everything what we're asking it to do and we have no idea why it smoked the tires, that's something that'll gnaw at you. But if you can go back and go, okay, you know what, this timer didn't go off, or, this clutch lever broke or something, so that you can definitively say that's the problem. Okay, now we put it behind us and go forward. But if you don't have that, then it's going to be a little bit more difficult, I think, going into St. Louis.
Yes. Yeah, it's who knows what it was, but I'm sure they are paying attention to whatever it is as best as they can. 100 wins, Coletta Motorsports. Connie Coletta, a true legend, obviously, making that milestone. JR, the driver who did it, but they teamed up to complete 100 wins this weekend.
Yeah, it's pretty special. You go back to the first one being the 1967 Winter Nationals when Connie was driving the car. And then obviously that counts everybody that's driven for Coletta Motorsports. And, Scott, who contributed a number of them, Alexis DeJoria, Hillary Well with the one that she won, all of those things together. And it was cool for Connie. And anybody that knows Connie, he is kind of a rough and gruff on the outside anyway, all business, we came to race. But the fact that he hung around for the Winter Circle celebration, took all the pictures, and was really enjoying the moment, I think is pretty special. A lot of fans probably don't realize, but a lot of times a Coletta car will win the race, and Connie won't be in the Winter Circle because he's already on a plane headed home. He's got to go back to work. He's got things that he's got to do. And, winning one race when you've been doing it as long as he has isn't reason to, pop the champagne corks. But winning the 100th was a very special moment. And the fact that he stayed around to celebrate it, I think this puts an exclamation point at the end of that.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was good to see him. He looked fired up. He looked happy. And that's what I think every drag racer likes to see Connie Coletta happy because, the guy has done so much for the sport. Simple as that. Moving on to Pro Stock. Yes, go ahead.
One more thing, though. I think it's also the fact of which car that won it that made it special. JR, when he was in the Winter Circle, standing up on the stage and we were talking, and he was, not like overly emotional, but very, very forthcoming about being asked to drive Scott's car is very special. and being able to put Scott's car in the winner's circle is very special. And that will forever and always be Scott's car. So the fact that it was Scott's car that got the win, even though JR was driving, and I think made it even more special for Connie than if it had been, if it had been Richie or if it had been Doug, or it still would have been 100. If it had been Sean Langdon's first one, that would have been special. But the fact that it was Scott's car, I think, is something that can't be overlooked.
Totally agree. Yeah, it's a great moment. It's super special. I'm glad everybody was okay after the mosh pit. Pro Stock. Vincent Nobile, this guy runs so well at Maple Grove. This is like back-to-back wins for Vincent at Maple Grove. He was not there a year ago, but he won the previous year. And being in the Northeast, the guy just turns it on. And looking at the point standings, helped himself out a lot, has had a good car, has had solid performances early in the season and middle on. Now just 18 points behind Tanner Gray. Tanner gets beaten by Drew Skillman, and just very interesting racing all across the board. I haven't counted up the whole shots, but I know there were a lot.
Yeah, all of the cars, they qualified so tight, as Pro Stock has been known to do. And when we've got 4 qualifying sessions where I don't think the density altitude varied more than about 200 or 250 feet. So when the weather conditions are the same for all 4 sessions, everybody gets very comfortable. Everybody gets into the sweet spot. And that's when you see that the racing is that close. I firmly believe, and again, didn't have any follow-up time just because of the way the day went, but I firmly believe that something was wrong with the motor in Tanner Gray's car. Because second round, when he raced Jason Line and he won on a hole shot, and Tanner's car had been 100 or a couple of hundredths quicker than most of the KB cars all day long. And at that point, it's down a mile an hour or so and off a little bit, and you go, okay, well, so, anybody can make a mistake, right? The crew chief misses 2 points of gear or, 200 RPMs on the launch or something, and Tanner made up for it with his left foot. Okay, all well and good. But then the car was slow again in the semifinals when Drew outran him. And, it's such a microscope in Pro Stock. If you look at a car that goes 656 at 209 and go, man, that thing really hauled ass, and then you come back 2 hours later and go 658 at 208.5. And to be able to say, okay, something's wrong with the motor. But I firmly believe that something was wrong with the motor in that car by the time that they had gotten to the second round. They got away with it the second round. They didn't get away with the semis. But they are still going to be serious players all the way through the countdown. It's fun, though, to tighten the points back up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. The points, to me, that's the fun part about it. And I know I say this over and over again, and people ad nauseum, they don't, they either like it or don't like it. But to me, the countdown is the most exciting time of the year, as it's supposed to be. All of these people feeling the pressure. Look, altering the way they're doing interview scheduling. Like, they know it's different. Everyone knows it's different. You got 6 drivers, Jeg, Drew, Erica, Greg, Vincent, Tanner, within 3 rounds of racing, 56 points.
And bring on St. Louis. I think that it's if you can get a little momentum going right now, that's going to be huge. And Drew Skillman certainly had one of his best showings of the year, even though he came up short in the final round. Vincent Nobile, now third time he's been in the winner's circle this year. But, build a little momentum right here, and that could go a long way in the countdown to the championship.
Was it the semifinal? I think it was the semifinal that Drew's car, incredible wheel stand, like up, and then up another foot, very uncharacteristic Pro Stock wheel stand. But I think they should all have to launch like that. I thought it was it was really cool.
Yeah, I believe it was the semifinal. They raised the bar up a little bit, trying to get it to plant the tire. That was the hottest part of the day. And, you manipulate how much traction, how much weight transfer there is by the wheelie bar height. And I think they decided to just let her fly that time and try to get as much as they could on the back tires. It was fun to watch, no doubt about it. And it ended up being a winner. So if we could just convince everybody that that's the fast way to go, then they'll all start doing it. But that's not always the fast way to go. So I don't believe we're going to convince them to do that all the time.
Because, man, it was so cool. And I'm watching on TV, and I'm thinking to myself, if they all left like that, people would love Pro Stock more than they do now, because that's cool. Covering the tire, carrying it 1.5 feet, doesn't have to be 8 feet. It can be 1.5 feet, 2 feet for 100 feet. That's good enough. And I don't know. I just thought it stuck out in my mind. I can still see it at this moment. Pro Stock motorcycle.
It was definitely a pretty good run. I want to talk one more thing before we say goodbye to Pro Stock. John Gadosh announced this weekend that he was going to retire from the tour. He has sold his car, and made no bones about the fact that he'd been out here 10 years and he'd been chasing a dream for 10 years, and it was time to go do something else. That the expense of running and staying competitive in the category was just gotten beyond his reach. So it's going to be a shame not to see the Maryland team out there anymore. But it has been fun watching him over the years. Make some progress, win some rounds here and there, and come out and fight in a good fight, even though he didn't have the big budget or the unlimited pockets that some of the guys he was racing against does. So it's going to be a shame we're not going to see him out there racing anymore.
So agree. John's a friend, and the underdog team, the guy that everybody wants to see go out there. He's a mechanic by trade. He's a real knowledgeable Pontiac guy, and has gone really quick and fast with real Pontiac engines, got involved in Pro Stock. Has done, I think, a pretty good job considering all those restrictions you just laid out, like financial restrictions. Like, when you don't have the budget, how do you do it? And he figured out how to do it many times. Qualified for Indy in his final year. So happy about that. Broke his little jinx. And I have a feeling John is going to continue on in the Pontiac world and doing a lot of great things. And he got to live the Pro Stock dream for 10 years. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see him somewhere down the road, even if it's not in Pro Stock. If maybe he'll make it back out to the track at some point. But just wanted to wish him well and let him know that we're going to miss him out there in Pro Stock.
Absolutely. And I'm starting a rumor that he's going to come up with an amazing Pontiac-powered top sportsman car. I just made it up. But if you're out there, John, let's do it. All right, Pro Stock motorcycle. Matt Smith, we had him on the show last week, told us that he felt confident that he had gotten rid of the bogging problem, that he had isolated it, when and the temperature and why it happens, etc. Goes out there, qualifies number 1, storms to the final round. 681.4 in the semis. That's a jaw dropper. Other side of the ladder, number 3 qualifier, Hector Jr., Mr. 200. They're both running on the EBR body. Hector Jr. goes to the final round, and Hector Jr. takes the win. 003 light, 684.2, 197. And speaking of closed up points, Hector Jr. just 3 behind Eddie, and everybody smashed in pretty close. You got 5 bikes within 47 points.
Yeah, well, we knew Hector was going to win that race. I don't even know why the rest of the team showed up. I mean, I guess somebody's got to get runner-up points and semifinal points. But if you follow trends, Hector this year has won every Mopar sponsored race, and there was no reason to think that string was going to break. So we knew he was going to win. It was just a matter of who was going to be the runner-up, and this time it ended up being Matt Smith.
Yes, exactly. Of course, the Mopar. I wonder if he is lobbying for Mopar to sponsor more races. Folks at Dodge.
I actually mentioned that to him in the Winter Circle interview, and he said it certainly wouldn't bother him a bit if Dodge wanted to step up and sponsor 4 of the last 5 races or so. He'd be good with that. But you know what? It was fun competition all weekend long. The class of the Suzuki field, as it has been, was Ellie Tonglet. The Alligator Man ran okay, but not spectacular. The Harleys looked good, but not spectacular. Matt Smith has really looked great ever since they put that new bodywork on the bike, at least in qualifying, and now he looks like he's got a race day combination as well. But it was a pretty wide open competition, and I still think, I'll stand by what I said last week, that Hector, Matt, Eddie, and Ellie, one of those 4, I think, is going to win the championship. And Hector drew first blood, so we'll just have to wait and see where they go from there.
So exciting. The NHRA countdown. This is what it's all about. In top alcohol dragster, Troy Coughlin Jr. getting a win at the national event level, and Troy Coughlin just doing exactly as we thought he would, adapting and elevating and getting better. Great talent. Wins in top alcohol dragster. Sean Bellemeur continues the reign of terror, that Hussey performance car, the Bartone brothers. Another win, wins Indy, wins Maple Grove, looking great for the championship. Tom Martino, Anthony Bertazzi, Shane Oakes, Mike Robalato, Ray Sawyer, Brock Mosier wins that golf cart race that they have, which is kind of cool. Big race. A lot of fun had by all.
It was good, in the sportsman ranks. And Troy's have, obviously he's had a pretty good run on the divisional trail, but I don't know how many people had him really penciled in as a legitimate championship contender. Adding the points up from his Maple Grove win, he's second in the points right now. He actually passed the reigning champ and moved up. Joey Severance bumped him down to 3rd. Sean Cowie's still out there in 1st place, but Troy's got a couple more races left to claim. And to depending on how much they want to travel and what they can do with that car, who knows? But he certainly looks like a contender. And Sean Bellemeur took over the point lead. Annie Whiteley was actually leading the points by just a couple, and Sean took over the point lead there in Alcohol Funny Car. So there's still a long ways to go, but those two categories are a long way from being settled.
Wow. That's great. I love that. I love it. And it's going to come down, Vegas, Pomona, which we would all prefer that champions are decided out at Pomona. That would be great. Alan, great job as usual. St. Louis this weekend. I went to my first one last year, and I loved the place. I thought it was great, and I'm looking forward to it. Race 2 of the countdown.
Yeah, it's a tremendous racetrack. It's a fairly intimate setting. It's, not really spread out all over the place, although there will be some sportsman racers that are inside the oval track. So, if you want to go down and cruise through the super stock or the super gas pits, it might be a little bit of a walk. But for, the pros and the pro mods are going to be back in competition. They're all fairly kind of tightly packed in there. And the fact that Chris Blair is the guy who runs the place, and anybody that knows Chris Blair knows that he's a guy who likes to promote, likes to go outside the box, likes to do some extracurricular stuff along with the big races. They're going to have a huge social media campaign kickoff. I understand they're talking about designing emojis for everybody, kind of like a la what the NASCAR guys are doing. But they're throwing some stuff around out there that should certainly be fun, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. I want to touch just one last little note on the Maple Grove race. That there's a lot of people that have, and I actually got a couple of emails about, even though we talked about it at the racetrack, why John Nobile was so excited about Hector Arana. And for those who don't know, Hector Arana is married to John Nobile's daughter. And, Vincent Nobile and Hector Arana are brothers-in-law. So to have the two of them both win the same race, it was the 13th race that each one of them had won. And that was kind of cool. And they had a little family moment up on the stage at the end of the deal with, Hector and Nicole. Now I guess Nicole Arana, Nicole Nobile, who is pregnant, and the fathers were there and the sons, and it was kind of a little happy family moment when they all got to join each other in the winner's circle. It was cool.
Yeah, very cool, and they'll both be on the show back-to-back, not together, Vincent and then Hector. And I like that, too. I don't know. I'm like a sucker for the buddy movie, and those two, they're buddies. They genuinely, they're friends. They get along. They're part of the same family now, and they both go out and win the same race as brother-in-laws. I think it's cool, and I'm happy for them. Happy for them both. Alan, thank you.
Right on.
Great job.
All right, Joe. Looking forward to St. Louis. Definitely looking forward to seeing the Pro Mods back on track.
Pro Mods, baby, and Factory Stock Showdown as well. Super excited.
Going to be a lot going on in St. Louis. If you don't have your tickets yet, it's not too late.
Get out there, baby. Alan, great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. We have got a lot more to come. We got Steve Torrence. We got J.R. Todd. We got Vincent Nobile. We're trying to track down Hector Arana Jr. We're getting after everybody. So stick around for all of that. If you're a new listener, listen, this is what we do every week. This is the show. Our Ignition show is very different. It's a lot of fun. We're on social media, Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram. I'm on Instagram. And WFO's on Instagram. You can follow us everywhere. But really, the best thing you can do is subscribe to the show. If you've got an iOS device, you can go through their podcast app and just subscribe. Or you can download the brand new WFO Radio app. All kinds of great features. And the best part about it is it's got push notifications. Meaning enable push, and then I can send you a message like, hey, call in your questions for so-and-so driver. Or WFO meetup going to happen in Maple Grove somewhere. Something like that. So definitely download the WFO Radio app and write a review. All right, more to come. Coming up on WFO Radio right now, though, I want to tell you about motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan, Elkhart, Indiana, U.S. Nationals winner. Expanding the business. Used to be AmeliStore.com, now motorsportsguys.com, because they are including Wolf's Head lubricants, Molly filters, K&N filters, All-Star Performance Racing, and high-performance parts from Motor State Distributing and Lane Automotive. And that is a wide variety of parts and pieces that you can get at motorsportsguys.com. Not to mention Amelie's new Pro Racing 70 oil with Molly, used by many of the professional drag racers out there, including Terry, for a larger tuning curve for those drop cylinder moments. It saves bearings, crankshafts. Pro stands for Professional Racing Oil, and they have many weights, including 70, 20, 50, 1030, 520. Amelie's been doing it using the pro term since the 1960s, but they've been better than they have to be since 1903. Go to motorsportsguys.com and remember, get the hat. It's an awesome hat. It is free. Add it to your cart. Use the promo code WFO, and the hat will be free. And that's how you let them know you're using WFO. Check out motorsportsguys.com. In fact, do it right now. Type it in, motorsportsguys.com. Open a new tab. Motorsportsguys.com. Bookmark it. There you go. Thanks to Terry McMillan, Jim Walzak, everybody for stepping up and supporting WFO Radio so we can continue this podcast and interview great stars of NHRA drag racing like our guest who is coming up next, Steve Torrence.
This is WFO Radio.
Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Whether you're a bracket racer who wants to get better or a thrill seeker looking to cross it off your bucket list, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School can put you on the right track. Don't believe me? Tell him, Frank.
No matter how little or how much experience you have, we've got a program for you. So if driving a dragster is on your bucket list, there's no better time than now. And if you'd like to be a pro, well, here's funny car champ, Jack Beckman.
Hey, this is Jack Beckman. Long before I was Fast Jack, I was a bracket racer who went to the Frank Hawley School. The time I spent there was some of the most exciting, intense, and fulfilling moments ever in a race car. I feel the curriculum Frank developed greatly helped me win not only the Super Comp, but also the NHRA Nitro Funny Car Championship. Frank put me on the right track. What are you waiting for?
Call them at 866-480-7223. That's 866-480-7223. Or visit frankhawley.com.
Hey, WFO Universe. Want something for free? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope with plenty of postage, and we'll load it up with free WFO stickers. That's right, I said free. Send your envelope, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Do it now.
Hey everybody, this is Joe Castello. When I'm at the racetrack, I am always checking out the cars to see what's hot, what's cool, what is the nicest and best and most effective part piece out there. And what I am finding is that the folks at Aerospace Components have got it going on. They've been in business for over 30 years. Everything is made in America, and they are family-owned and operated. Aerospace Components is a name known throughout the racing industry as one of the leaders in manufacturing high-performance drag racing products. Their Tampa Bay area facility is equipped with state-of-the-art CNC machining centers and inspection equipment. You got to get it right. They get it right. They have racers all over the country that run their brakes, shifters, vacuum pumps, water pumps. They do so many different things. And if you go to their website right now, Aerospace Components, you can check out exactly what I'm talking about. And if you want your front brake calipers in pink or aqua or green, they can do that too. Check it out. That's aerospacecomponents.com. Check out the website and let them know you heard it on WFO. Drag Racing Edge. That's the magazine. Subscribe online. Get the issues, $24.95. Keep up with your favorite sport, whether it be NHRA Mellow Yellow, Lucas Oil Series action. They cover drag radial. They cover it all. Drag Racing Edge magazine.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio. Hopefully you are subscribed. You've downloaded the app. The countdown is on. But I want to remind everybody, this show has always continued into the off-season. And what happens is a lot of people shut down for the holidays. They shut down for November and December, and we keep going. There are so many stories. We want to keep up with everybody. I am planning on doing some racing myself. Got some really good things happening, good things going, and so you're going to want to keep up with all of that by listening and subscribing to WFO Radio NHRA Nitro. You can find us on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast, you will find WFO. It has been suggested to me that the podcast should be on YouTube, and please advise. Is that something people are interested in, putting us on YouTube with like a logo up there and you can just hear the audio? I know people do that, but why don't they just listen to the podcast on their mobile device? I am curious. Let me know. But right now, as we get ready for Steve Torrence and J.R. Todd, as we get ready for Vincent Nobile, as we get ready for Brian Massingill, who's going to talk a little factory stock showdown, hopefully, I want to tell you about CatSpotLitter.com. It has been said for many, many years. You may remember back in the day watching American Sports Cavalcade with Steve Evans and all the guys, Big Mac. You may recall they would always say that drag racing fans are the most devout and devoted when it comes to supporting sponsors because they realize that this sport costs a lot of money, and any sponsor that is choosing to try to market towards the drag racing fans is helping the sport continue. And that is so true when we're talking about CatSpotLitter.com. Scott Palmer, supported by CatSpot, reaching out to every cat owner. If that's you, if you've got a cat, there are many reasons why you should go to CatSpotLitter.com. The most basic is that it's e-commerce. And so instead of going to the grocery store and lugging around cat litter and carrying it around, throwing it in the back of your vehicle and it spills all over the place and there's a big cloud of debris, it's gross. This is e-commerce. You go to the website, you sign up, how many cats do you have, and it shows up at just the right time. But also, it's new and improved material in that it's coconut, it's sustainable, it's biodegradable, it naturally controls odors with zero chemicals, it absorbs 560% of its weight in liquid, it's all natural. These are all great things. I don't know anybody who says, oh, I want the old chemical kind that is hard to dispose of. It's made out of coconut. Go to CatSpotLitter.com. And finally, Scott Palmer, Dom Lagana, Jeff Deal, Ricky House. These racers are on the track partially because of the folks at CatSpotLitter.com, not to mention all the Lucas Oil Drag Boat Series boats that Tommy Thompson's got going on, CatSpotLitter.com. And now, WFORadio.com. So if you've got a cat, get CatSpot Litter and support the sport of drag racing. Now, if you don't have a cat, you're not excluded. Magic Dry was on the side of Dom Lagana's machine this weekend. Magic Dry for the folks with a shop, for the folks who are just looking to clean up spills. Similar situation. Sustainable, biodegradable, natural, but not designed for cats. Designed for cars and boats and garages. There you go, CatSpotLitter.com. Check them out. Now, into it with our top fuel winner. Joining us now, he is the top fuel winner. The first race of the countdown, the Dodge NHRA Nationals, came in as the points leader and took the win, exactly what he needed to do. Steve Torrence is back. Steve-O, congratulations.
Thank you, Joe. Glad to be back, man. I sure do appreciate it.
All right. I want to get into several different things, including the round by round of the win. But I found it to be interesting. My people out there who were at the event told me that you had said very politely and professionally and nicely, like, guys, I really don't want to do any talking until after I win this race. What inspired that?
Well, it's just sometimes you can kind of get a little sidetracked with what's going on and what everybody's asking and questions and comments and what you got to do and what this guy's doing. And at the end of the day, none of it really matters. It doesn't matter what the next team's doing or what the points are or how many rounds or who's going rounds. We need to focus on what the Capco team's doing. We need to go rounds and we need to just try to go to win those rounds and try to win races. And if we can continue to do that, I think that the points and all that stuff will take care of itself. So it was just a way to limit the distractions of the day and just move forward.
Wow, I love that. I mean, it's as someone who does interviews for a living, it's a double-edged sword. Obviously, we want to talk with you, but if that's what you, the team feels like, man, let's focus and let's circle the wagons, how can you argue with it?
Yeah, and I've been on both sides of it. I've done quite a few interviews and some pretty colorful ones at that. And I think it's better for me at this time just to move forward and focus on the race car, focus on driving. We have one goal at hand, and that's to win the championship. And we don't need any distractions or anything to stand in the way.
Is that a policy that you're going to continue through the whole countdown?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Interesting. Oh, listen, it's a very interesting deal. All right, let's talk about it. Clay, number one qualifier. You guys qualified fourth. You had to run Bill Litton first round, 378.3, and, going for it. Nobody was Mike Salinas in the first round, but you guys did what you had to do to beat Bill Litton and advance to the second round of racing where you would run Mike Salinas. Talk about first round, first race of the playoffs and all the background. You get a chance to win a title at Redemption, but everyone's starting off even again.
Yeah, and I mean, that was something that I really focused on and not tried not to let get in my head because, this is that was the first of the 6 races for the countdown. We had a very sizable lead going into that and lost it, and we were only 1 round ahead of everybody. So it's a lot to kind of burden when you go in with 10 rounds the race before. So we made sure that we pushed all that aside, went out there and did the best we could. We didn't we kind of missed the ball Friday night when the conditions were great and tried to go to the top. We were a little too aggressive and that might have put us behind the 8 ball a little bit. But we've done really well from that number 4 spot. I mean, I've had quite a bit of luck qualifying there. So I think that first round against Litton, that guy's always pretty good on the tree, and with Dell and them working on that car and that being the Worsham deal, they, you can never take them lightly. And Bill's a super nice guy and a fellow Texan. So you hate going that far away from home and racing your Texan buddy, but it just was just how it played out through qualifying.
There you go. Second round, you got to go up against Mike Salinas, who uncorked a 73 first round, but was heating up, and that always presents a challenge. But that is a team that is very dangerous. They can turn on a bunch of wind lights, and it seems like every time they show up to the track, they're better than the week before.
Yeah, Mike Salinas is a super nice guy. I mean, that guy has come out and really put together a nice organization. He's got a good group of guys over there working. I know a couple of those guys that are key players over there had worked for us in the past on our team. So I'm glad to see them doing well. I'd be lying if I was happy that they're doing well right now, but that is a really tough car to contend with. So they did go 73 first round. You never know if they really meant to run that fast or not. I mean, that was a good bit quicker than everybody else, but they did it nonetheless. So we knew that team would run strong, and we went up there. I missed the tree a little bit. I didn't really do my job, but Richard and Bobby and all those Capco boys, they had my back, and the old Capco car went down through there and was able to turn on the wind light and save my butt second round.
Semifinals, Clay Milliken. Clay having a career year, just owning qualifying, comes in as number 1 qualifier. So this is a huge race right here. And you win it on a hole shot, meaning you left first and won the race with a slower ET. 068, you were able to bounce back from the 86 and basically reverse the numbers. That was a huge run because Clay goes on and wins the race. Then suddenly points are looking differently. The driver was saved in the second round. The driver saved the team in the semis.
That's just how it goes. I mean, sometimes you live by the sword you die by, and I was able to redeem myself for my guys that round. I knew that Grubnick, he's really starting to get a good handle on that car, and when the conditions are the way that they were in Reading, those guys can run really, really hard. So I went up there and I just took my time, said my prayer, and I went in and staged the car and knew I had to be up on the wheel to get it done. And when I left, I didn't feel just absolutely stellar that I crushed it, but I knew I got it pretty good. And we were able to hold on for the win. I could hear Clay the whole way. I couldn't see him. I didn't know where he was at. But when they're that close, you can hear that other car over there. And so you go through the lights and you're just looking to to see if that light comes on your wall or his wall. Unfortunately, it came on our side, and that was a big round for us. I mean, you know, like you said, Clay was right there behind us and going rounds, and that round right there will probably play a pivotal point in this championship, I hope.
And then the final, Tony Schumacher, who you two have such a great history, and you guys run critical runs a lot. Tony, you know, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, certainly the greatest numbers of all time, has, frankly, ripped the hearts out of racers in the past in championship scenarios. And the Army car is now back, for one last ride, right? You got to run Tony in the final round, and you brought it. 0:36 reaction time, left first by 381, win the race, first race of the countdown. From the number one spot, you're the winner.
It was a tough round. I knew, fortunately, we had the lane choice going into that, and that probably played a big key. The Army car, you never can take those guys lightly. With Neff over there, Zippy, making the calls, and then Tony. I mean, he is the. I mean, he comes back. He does all the hero runs. I mean, that guy, he's great under pressure, and he went up there and did his job. I kind of looked at the runs before, earlier in the day, and he'd gotten better as the day went. His 60 foots had gotten a little slower, so I knew that he was rolling the car in a little bit, and I try not to do that ever until the final round, and then, lane choice doesn't really mean that much. Whoever gets there first wins. So I rolled it in a little bit in the final. I think I would have been low 50 had I not, but when I hit the gas, I knew that I'd gotten all of it, and I heard him just for an instant, and then I heard the car go away, so I knew that something had happened even before we crossed the finish line. But that's where you just you hope and pray that nothing happens to your car as you're going, and you see that wind light come on. But it was an unbelievable feeling. We were in the final round there last year, and pan pressure switch shut the car off, and we lost. So it was good to get a win there. I like that racetrack. I mean, it's, other than being the first race of the countdown, it's just a pretty cool place to go. So I had a good time. All the fans were awesome, and the weather was great. Usually we have some kind of rain in Reading, and probably the year that everybody thought it was most likely to rain, it didn't, and it was pretty all weekend. So it was a good day Sunday, and that was a great round to win. But it's one of five. We're on our way to get it done, but we still got a long ways to go, and we need to stay focused on what the task is, and that's trying to win this championship.
Yes, exactly where I wanted to go in that. You enjoyed the win, and you're happy about the win, but it's very different than other wins in that it's almost like winning a round. You won the race, but it's just a step to a larger goal.
It is, and with the points the way they are and being restructured and everybody's so close back together, I mean, it's just a step. It's one step in the right direction, and we got to keep stepping. I think I've said this before. I feel like we need to win at least two more of these things to have a real good shot at it. So it's going to be a pretty tough next 5 races, and we need to try to capitalize on. If we can win 3 of them and go a couple rounds, I think we'll be okay. But we need to stay focused on the task. AB
has got a great math strategy, which I know you know about. That there's only so many rounds that a driver can get, and now you just got 4 of them, and there's you just gobble up those rounds, which is a big deal. All right, I want to ask you about a couple of things. One, Richard Hogan. Bobby Lagana is like, he's not feeling great, whatever, but, we love you, all that stuff. Please forward our best to Hoagie. How's he doing?
Oh, he's doing good. Still a little bit of the issue that he had in Denver with the I think they call it AFib, where his heart's just a little bit out of rhythm. They're going to go in and do a procedure here in the next few days or week or so, and he'll be good to go. He's a tough old bird, and he's a good buddy of mine. I check on him all the time, but he's done really well when he doesn't feel the best, and kept everybody going in the right direction, and we try to keep everything as smooth as possible for him to lessen the stress, and he does really good. So I think that he'll be all right. We'll make it through St. Louis this weekend, and I think that he'll be back to 100%, at the end of the week next week.
All right, next question, and you can tell me, whatever. I'm gonna hit you with it, and you let me know. I saw some social media traffic, some people who made a comment about your winner's interview on TV, and how now I know you, and it's very different than people who just watch on TV. And I know you got a great heart, and you just swing from the hip and you say stuff, but you basically made a comment about the rest of the competition, pee on them because we're focused. I got what you meant, but the people that I saw that were commenting about it they didn't get it. They didn't understand what you were trying to do. Like, what were you trying to do? You were just kind of making a comment about your focus on the team, from what I understood.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that they don't get it, Joe. It's that they don't like me. They weren't a fan of mine before. And so it's like all the other naysayers on the internet and these keyboard jockeys and crew chiefs that always have something to say. And then when they get to you out there at the ropes, it's a whole different story. So I really don't have time for crap like that. It's just, it's so petty. Anybody says anything and they try to blow it out of proportion. I mean, it's comical to me. I didn't mean anything negative about it. I'm not there for any other reason other than to win a championship, to win races and go rounds. I'm not going to sit there and tell you that, oh, that's such a great guy and I'm happy he won. If I didn't win, I'm not happy that he won. I wanted to win. And I'm not going to throw a fit about it, but I'm not going to act like, oh, it's all cherries and gumdrops because we just got our butt kicked. If I did something wrong, it's my fault. We smoked the tires, it's our fault. I mean, if we got outrun, we got outrun. But I'm not there to sugarcoat the deal, and everybody doesn't get a trophy. If you go out there and suck, you suck. If you show me somebody that's a good loser, and I'll show you a loser. It's just, I wasn't raised to where, I just was raised a little different than some of these cats that are talking all this crap, but I'm competitive. I want to be the best. And if you go out there and you're complacent with not being the best and people don't become professional football players and professional athletes without striving to be the best and having the attitude that when you go out there on the field, you're there to win. You're there to kill the guy across from you. And that's the intensity and the mindset that I go in with it. Antron Brown is one of my greatest friends that I have. And some peanut on social media tried to stir something up with that. And I think it kind of folded up on him last night when Antron was laughing about it and I was laughing about it and everybody else. I'm pretty outspoken, but what I say, I'll say, if I say it about you, I'll say it directly to you. And so it was nothing more than a bunch of people that probably don't even go to the drag races, probably have never been to the drag races, and they sit on their couch and watch them and then want to tell you how to tune your car on Monday. So I'm just going to let that one slide, and you know exactly how I feel about it.
No, and I appreciate you giving us the insight here on WFO. That's why we do this, because, we want to know what's really going on. All right, St. Louis, what do you think? Race 2, here we go again.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. We did well there last year, and we need to try to go back there and pick up where we left off from Reading and where we left off there. And it would be, it'd be a great way to go to the second race with a countdown. I don't know. I haven't looked that far out to see what the weather's going to be, but we've historically done well. I've got my dad coming back out, and he's a huge help to us. That car right there is running really well. And he's drove unbelievable.
Yes.
I've always told him, you'd come out here and race one of these things, you'd win a race. Well, heck, he come out and raced them a little bit and won a race. So, it's one of those deals where you can buy all the parts, you can buy all the pieces, you can hire all the people, you can do all of that with money, but you cannot win a race no matter how much money you spend. And he earned that one. And I couldn't be more proud of him for what he did at Brainerd. That was pretty unbelievable. But he's a great ally to have out there. as a blocker, and I'm looking forward to having him back out. He'll race St. Louis. He won't race Charlotte, but he'll race the rest of them.
He's very animated. It's kind of interesting getting to know your father. It's kind of like my impression initially was he's a little quiet, but he won the race. He's experienced like these joyful moments, and so talking to him in Indy as you're going down the track and all, he's talking about what really affected him was the pipeliner community and how all these people that he didn't know were following him, and how amazing it was, and how there are thousands and thousands of them that are all of a sudden, they're like on board with him. And it just seemed to blow his mind. And it kind of blew my mind that his mind was blown over anything.
Yeah, my dad and I are very, very similar. He's just a little more calmed down version. But so very intense and focused and as competitive. He has a lot better filter than I do, but we have a lot of support from the pipeliner community. I mean, and most people don't even know what a pipeliner is, but when you have heat and gas in your home in the winter, you should think a pipeliner, because we send a lot of gas from down south up north, and we build those lines that help make that happen. So there's a lot of guys all over this country that work in this industry that are avid race fans, and I've been able to witness it over the last 6 years, since we've had Capco on the car and had our own deal, and he hasn't been privy to that. But the last year and a half that he's been coming out and racing with us a little more often, there's a lot of fans, a lot of the older community that's his age that are rooting for him. I mean, I was there this weekend, and I fielded as many questions of where my dad was at as to anything. So has a pretty big following. A lot of fans support him, and I mean, hell, he's driving his butt off. I'm proud of him.
There you go. Steve, congratulations on the win. I know it's just part of a bigger battle that you're fighting to win this championship. We are watching. The entertainment level is high. That's all we can ask for if we're going to grow the sport of NHRA drag racing. It needs compelling, exciting people, great stories. You're doing a great job. Good luck this weekend.
Thank you very much, Joe. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Steve Torrence with us here on WFO Radio. Torrence getting the win. How about that? Didn't want to talk to anybody and went out there and got the job done. And I think this team is looking really, really good, really strong. Great way to start. Take advantage of having that points lead going in. Steve Torrence takes the win. Be back in action in a few days out in St. Louis. We got JR Todd coming up. We have got more coming up, so stick around for all that. But right now I want to tell you about RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Marvin Rodak, hardcore drag racer from Fort Worth, Texas. Used to be a WFO radio listener, and hopefully still is. I know he still is. 817-924-6821. But has put together a lot of blends of coffee that are drag racing themed. And that's the best part about it. Was out there this weekend at North Star Dragway in Texas for an event called Funny Car Chaos that he is a partial sponsor of. And there is a coffee called Funny Car Chaos that you can get. But he's also got new coffee just in, like the Costa Rica Black Honey. Oh, that sounds really good. It's very rare. It's got great body. It's got almond, milk, chocolate, and raspberry and vanilla. Really? The Costa Rica Black Honey? Pretty amazing. If you are a coffee file, if you are a person that just loves starting your day with coffee, you got to call Marvin. I'm not funning you here. 817-924-6821. They've got Rodax 11-ounce coffee mugs. Got all kinds of stuff for the grill. They've got the new Primo Oval G420 gas grill. He's got all kinds of stuff. This is a place where you are going to learn a whole lot about next-level grilling and coffee and spices and spice rubs and recipes and all of that. Be sure to like them on Facebook as well. Rodax Custom Coffees is what it is. 817-924-6821. Call Marvin. Get into it. Start a conversation. And what I do, I'm telling you, is everybody who's been cool to me over the course of the year that I can remember, because there's a lot of them, they get a Rodax holiday pack. A hot sauce, a spice rub, and a pound of coffee. And when they open it up, the aroma just hits them in the face. Bang! Joe loves you. Just like that. RoadAxeCoffeeandGrills.com. Hit them up. All right, we got more coming up. J.R. Todd, Castello Motorsports, 100 wins is next.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Hussey Performance copper head gaskets. Do you make big power? That's the question. Do you make power? Hussey Performance specializes in quality copper gaskets to your exact specs. Any bore, any size and thickness. From 500 cubic inch nitro burning Hemis to turbocharged Pro Mods to Honda engines or even big tractors, Hussey Performance makes the gaskets. Hussey stocks gaskets in increments of 1/1000th of an inch. And if they don't stock it, they can custom make it for any application. This allows racers to get their exact compression ratio that they're going for. Hussey Performance gaskets are the most accurate on the market. With nearly 40 years of experience in the copper industry, they know exactly where and how to purchase copper to the tightest tolerances. 1/1000th. 1/1000th. If you're a racer, you're thinking about, well, how long does this take? Typically, less than a week. They want to help you make the race. Next day shipping is also available. What to do? You got to call David directly, 724-318-8292, or go to husseyperformance.net. And one more thing, it's all made in America, including the machines they use. That is huge. 724-318-8292, Hussey Performance, copper head gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is husseyperformance.net.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the block, head, and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport, EFI tuning, and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
If you're looking for extra horsepower, check out WilsonManifolds.com, the leader in intake manifold and nitrous oxide development. They've set records and won championships in just about every series in professional racing. Sprint Cup, Nationwide, Camping World Truck Series, NHRA Pro Stock, right up to the Nitro classes. If you're looking for extra horsepower, check out the leader in intake and nitrous development at WilsonManifolds.com.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Got to keep on rolling. Race 1 in the books. Race 2 this weekend from Maple Grove to St. Louis. It is going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. We got Vincent Nobile. We got Hector Jr. working on Sean Bellemeur. All coming up. Brian Massingill. All coming up. Going to talk Factory Stock Showdown. Great stuff. Great stuff. J.R. Todd is next. 100 wins for Castello Motorsports, takes over the points lead. But right now I want to tell you about new sponsor, audible.com/WFO Nitro. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. And you might be thinking, well, what is audible.com? And the fact is, listen, you guys are listeners. You listen like me. When I was working in that warehouse way back in the day, shrink wrapping watercraft parts. That's how I got started. And I tell that story every now and again on the Ignition Show, going way back, because I'm a talk radio guy. I like to listen while I work. I like to listen while I do things. And, of course, I concentrate. If I have to really concentrate, I can pause whatever I'm listening to. And I started out with AM, talk radio, all of that. But then advanced to podcasts, and now I do a podcast, all for the people who are like me. People who like to listen to something while they're driving, while they're on a plane. Maybe it's not music, because, well, music. You know, once you get used to jamming out a little bit, sometimes you want your brain to be activated in a different way. And that's where audible.com/WFO Nitro comes in. It's anytime, anywhere listening. You can listen to your books wherever you are with their free app, at home, in the car, at the gym. You can even switch devices and you'll never lose your place. They've got the biggest selection ever. No one's got more listens than Audible. You don't like one? No questions asked. Return it means exchange is easy. And finally, you're protected. Audible is a trusted Amazon company, so you can count on privacy, security, and satisfaction. Go to audible.com/WFO Nitro to start your free trial. And this is great. And the way I like to think about it is think of all the motorsports and automotive-related books and education that you can get while sitting and listening on a plane, sitting and listening on a train, sitting and listening while you're in a car. And our audience is already doing it. In fact, Sean Anderson, one of our listeners, has sent me a list to entice you with, like, for instance, Rush to Glory, the story that inspired the movie Rush, James Hunt and Niki Lauda. That's a good one. Go Like Hell, the story of the Ford GT40 program. These are available on audible.com/WFO Nitro. Our Final Invention, Artificial Intelligence and the End of the Human Era. I might not want to listen to that one. That one might be a little scary. Just telling you. The Limit. The Limit tells the enthralling story of Phil Hill, a lowly California mechanic who defied all expectations to become the first American-born driver to win Grand Prix championship. I'm sure there's drag racing-themed books there as well. Go to audible.com/WFO Nitro. That is our own link specifically for you WFO radio listeners. Go on there, get your free trial, and try it out, especially everybody that's in the NHRA that's traveling all over the place. Let's get an education together. Let's learn about stuff. And check out audible.com/WFO Nitro. And thank you very much to the folks at Audible for jumping on with our podcast. And thank you, all of you listeners, for making it possible. Now let's get into it with our funny car winner out there at the Dodge Nationals. Joining us now, he is the funny car winner in the first race of the countdown. He got the job done coming in off his U.S. Nationals victory and has now taken over the points lead. J.R. Todd is back. J.R., welcome back. Congratulations.
Thanks for having me on again, Joe. We had a hell of a weekend there in Reading for sure. One that I'll never forget.
My goodness, you are on a tear. And what's cool to me is that it was building. Like, you could see it. You guys were talking about it. We've conversed about it several times about, back in Norwalk, the tribute to Scott, 10 years. The season starts now. And it was, I don't want to say you flipped a switch, but you began a process there that is still going here. We talked about it after Indy. We're continuing the conversation as you guys are getting better and better.
Yeah, I attribute to Todd Smith and Jono. They're doing a really good job of handling that DHL Wixfield or Toyota, just racing smart with it and not going overkill. And our qualifying results really didn't tell the story there in Reading. We had some mechanical issues, and I cost us a lot of work in qualifying. Put it that way. But Friday night, it should have run probably right around 391 or so, which would have put us right near the top in qualifying. And had an issue where the clutch system malfunctioned and went out there and kept my foot in the throttle way too long and tore up a bunch of stuff. And then Saturday, Q3 bounced back. We were low of the session, then got 3 bonus points, which is what we need to do, gain as many points as we can that are available. And Q4, it was running pretty good again and got down track and put 2 cylinders out and went 397. So it showed us that there's promise that, we could run with the top guys out there again. And on Sunday, we by any means didn't have the best car. I felt like Robert was probably the car to beat, but we definitely had a really good car and a car that was good enough to win.
Well, absolutely. And, catching breaks in any championship, whatever it is, like if you think about the NFL and the Patriots that were perfect going up against the Giants and that catch, the Tyreek catch off his helmet, that was a great catch and all, but it was also a very lucky break. If it touches the ground and bumps out, the cosmic forces, the racing gods, all those things, you were able to get a free run first round as Bob rolled the beams, and then second round, Mike Smith had a problem. And so now you guys, your crew chiefs, Jono and Todd Smith, my neighbor, they got a beat on the track, and then watch out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was nervous first round because you're racing Bob Tasca, who's not in the countdown and has a really good car, and is teamed up with Don Schumacher Racing. So he's going out there and he's basically got nothing to lose at this point. He can make some really good runs and also trying to help out, those DSR cars along the way. And he had an issue there against us first round. And I felt like we made a pretty good run there for for what was out there first round, and then with Courtney going out first round against Mike Smith, that was the door opening right there. It's like, man, we got to go out there and race smart against Mike Smith. Just go down the track, but not back it up too much. And felt like we'd made another really good run against him, and then against Caps, man, I knew that was going to be a battle there. That got me pretty pumped up for sure.
0:38 reaction time. You were loaded for bear. An 0:38. It is, some say the max possible for a funny car if you're shallow. I don't know if you were totally shallow, or I imagine you would be trying to get lane choice for the final round, so you would be shallow. But at the same time, there's that big debate that's constantly going on. You can't get lane choice if you don't get there first. And so tell me how you approached that, because 0:38 is incredible.
Yeah, to me, I base it off of who we're racing against. A guy like Mike Smith, not taking anything away from those guys, but we know that they're not going to go up there and outrun us if we make a good run. So against him, taking my time, bumping it in, shallow staging as much as possible so we can try and get lane choice against Caps for the semifinals. And then against him, it's like you just go up there and not completely roll it in, but I'm not bumping it in either. So wherever it lands, it lands. And I figured maybe I was in 100th or so, but it's also like you're jacked up, geared up, ready to go. The light comes on, hit the gas, and maybe you caught it at the right time. But I felt like when I hit the gas, I was like, oh boy, like I knew that I got all the tree that I could that time against him. And to see what the reaction time was, I was like, man, how do I explain this? Because I'm always knocking people that have lights like that. But yeah, I think if you shallow stage, the ultimate best that you can do is probably somewhere around a 50 light. But yeah, I mean, we all admit that we'll take a little bit on race day just to it helps us, but you're also not robbing a whole lot from the car either.
See, I like it. That debate has been raging off and on for a while, and I don't know, maybe because I've been around for a while, I like the cagey starting line in a critical situation. Maybe I'll do something different aspect of it. If there was some way, and I know people have talked about the timing system could be modified so that's not a thing anymore, the way we manage these times. I like it. To me, it's part of drag racing. Like, I can read the numbers. I can figure it out. I feel like I got what it takes to see that.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, anybody that knows, how to read the incremental times, and like us drivers and the crew chiefs, like you can look at the reaction time and then look at the 60-foot time. That usually tells a story of who's deep stage and who's not. So if a guy's up there really shallow, then he's gonna have a really good 60-foot time, and hats off to him for having a good reaction time.
There it is. So you take down Caps, you outran him as well. Going to the final, other side of the ladder, Wilkerson, who has been fantastic. It just goes to show you that, and I've been arguing, pro countdown for a long time because the countdown point situation forced Tim into a corner. And he came out fighting, and he is still fighting, and he's better than he's been all season long. This guy is in it. And he goes to the semis, and Robert red lights. And I think everybody is shocked. Like, I don't know, the last time Robert Height red lighted like that, 0:22, runs 3:98, would have been a fantastic final round either way, but you're running Tim Wilkerson instead of Robert Height.
Yeah, I was at the top end because they were the pair right after we had won the semifinals. And, once they said that Wilkerson won, they're like, hey, you're the points leader now. That kind of blew me away. And yeah, Timmy, he, like you said, he knows being at the bottom of the countdown, in the top 10, that you pretty much got to go for broke. Like, you got to make a move there in the first race. And he did by qualifying there near the top, and, ran really well all day and did what he had to do to get to the finals. And a guy like that, I mean, they're dangerous. I mean, when you're at the bottom of the list, you got to go for broke, and you got nothing to lose at that point. And he knows how to win races, and definitely runs really well when the tracks are marginal. And I'm not saying the tracks are marginal now, because they're definitely better than what we've had in the last month or two. And just he's getting it dialed in at the right time for sure.
Yes, but in the final round, There's a lot on the line. You know, I don't like to talk about the word pressure because I kind of feel like you guys put that on yourselves all the time. But in this particular case, you've got, chance to win back-to-back races, chance to win the first race of the countdown. You got to get every possible point because you want to win a championship. But also, boy, I bet you really wanted to beat Connie Coletta's 100th victory.
Honestly, before the final, I didn't even think about the 100th win. I completely, for whatever reason, just kind of forgot about it. I was just pumped that we were going to leave there, leading the points no matter what. And of course, you want to win the race. And to me, I felt like I had put more pressure on myself the round previous against Caps than I did in the finals. I don't know if I was more relaxed or what it was, but I feel like we had a good enough car that if we went up there and repeated what we did the previous 3 rounds, that we could come out there with the win. And sure enough, went up there, and that thing was consistent all 4 runs. And I think we went 97 there again in the final, and it hurt itself after the run, but it was good enough to turn on the wind light and get down there and get interviewed by Amanda. And she's like, is it the 100th? I'm like, the 100th what? They're like, you got the 100 win for Connie. I'm like, oh man, that is awesome.
Yeah, that is a historic milestone, a very big deal. You were 0-49 in the final, and just to point out that consistency, we're relearning numbers again. Was several years ago where, for the very first time, and I don't know exactly who it was, ran 4 rounds of eliminations in the 3s. Those kind of things were discussed, and we've kind of forgotten about that because, the track prep was so great, but now the track prep has changed a little bit. All 4 round wins in the 3s, 98, 99, 97, 97. It's a pretty big statement these days.
Yeah, I would say so. Like I said, that goes back to Todd and Jono, just racing smart. And I got to give a lot of credit to the TRD guys that read the track for us with JP and Chad Head and Jawad and Slugger. I mean, they do an awesome job of giving our crew chiefs the info they need about the grip levels of the track. And that's basically how they decide what lane they want to go in without even having to go up there and look at the track. So my hat's off to those guys for staying up there in the heat and the sun and busting their ass for us. And it means a lot when you got the disposal of TRD on your side, and they expect a lot out of us, and it's awesome to be able to pay them back with wins with all the information and data that they give us. So yeah, that's one reason I think that our car is as consistent as it is because Todd and Jono don't have to worry about going up there and reading the track because they're getting all that information from those guys.
Wow. I've had several conversations with Slugger, who I know from the NASCAR side of the world and his Daytona 500 wins, etc. And it's funny, sometimes I see him just walking amongst the fans, and I wonder, do they know this guy has won the Daytona 500 a couple of times? But as you know, wonderful human, wow, so into discussing and thinking about the engineering side, what can make these cars quicker and faster, and has really seemed to adapt and jump into the drag racing world with both feet, with a passion and a love. Earlier this year, he and I had some really, in depth on his side, and I'm struggling to understand what he's saying as best as I can on my side, conversations about different things. And now it seems to all be coming to fruition.
Yeah, Slugger is extremely smart, and he brings a lot to the table for us. It's nice having somebody with that kind of knowledge, with a outside, perspective. He, didn't know anything about drag racing, really. I mean, he'd been to some races in the past and was buddies with a few of the crew chiefs and what have you out here, and would come on weekends off or whatever. But, he never really knew a lot about it. And now, that he's there involved with us, week to week, he brings an outside perspective, and it's awesome. I think it's paid off because we've already made some changes to our program based on what he's brought, and it's only going to get better. And I think what he brings to our team is going to help the sport because he's working with NHRA on doing some different things to the funny cars. I think within the next few years you'll see those changes coming, and I feel like he has a lot to do with that.
Wow. Great. Well, great stuff. Now, one other question I want to ask you about, and it's possible you don't even know about it, because I was fortunate, JR, to be able to watch the television show this week, and see, the at-home perspective, which is interesting and good sometimes. And after one of your round wins, Jono, who is, he's a character. Everybody over there at Coletta is a character, and I think all the fans know that. But he had a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's like, hey, I'm a champion crew chief too. Just want to let Tony know. And I thought, wow, something is on his mind. So much so that he would get up there and, turn his attention to something like that. Now, it is very true. He earned a championship a couple of years ago with Dell and Nikki, and one of the greatest championship fights of all time, in my opinion. Like, that was one of the best championship battles we have ever seen. But is Jono, is he got extra motivation going on?
Jono, I don't think that he needs extra motivation. I mean, he's like you said, competitive person, and he definitely speaks his mind, which is what I love about him. He doesn't hold back. And he's fired up. I mean, I feel like him and Todd got something to prove, because we as at Coletta feel like we're always underrated, which is fine. Like, I have no problem being that way. If we could slide under the radar and not be a championship favorite, that's totally fine with me, because then we can go out there and try and prove everybody wrong. And yeah, I know what Jono's getting at. I mean, I've watched the TV shows in the past, and you hear Tony talk about championship winning crew chief, Todd Smith. But yeah, maybe he's already forgot that Jono has a ring with Dell as well. And, he's got rings as a crew member with Scott Coletta when they were on a tear back in 94, 95. So those guys, we got a lot of people that have won championships in the past at Coletta Motorsports, and they all know how to win races for sure.
That is, thank you for the insight on that. I'm sure people are wondering, what's up with that? And that's why they come to WFO and Nomex Effect as well. Boy, you've had some good material the past couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Sean and I are going to do a show later on today, and I guarantee you it'll be worth tuning into. If you can't catch it on Facebook Live, it'll be on iTunes later on. So it'll be worth listening to, because we got some things to talk about after the Reading event.
Oh, fantastic. Well, JR, congratulations on this win, but this is the countdown. And so you've got a win, you got a Walla, you got the points lead. Now it's on to St. Louis, where you need to build upon it. Following a win up with a tough weekend puts you right back into the middle of the pack. This is what makes it exciting. Everybody has got to build on what they've got. Tell me about St. Louis and how you're going to approach the event. From what you've told us, starts off first qualifying session.
Well, right now, the Yellow Fellows, they're back at the shop in Ypsilanti, Michigan, busting their asses, getting everything back together that we tore up there in Reading. I mean, building motors and what have you. So I'm sure it's going to be a couple late nights before they get to St. Louis, where most of the teams, I'm sure, maybe stayed over and serviced their parts in Reading and then made the trip to St. Louis or came to Indy and took a day off before going to St. Louis. But my guys, they're up there working around the clock, getting things ready to go. And I'm myself going to try and put in some work here in Indy, go to the gym and get myself in shape and just try and focus on the mission at hand. I mean, yeah, we celebrated a little bit there Sunday night after we won, but Monday morning it was back to business. And it's nice to come out there with the win and the points lead, but you got to keep your eyes forward and not look back, because it's not going to be an easy road these next 5 races, and we still got a long ways to go, and it's going to be a battle there to the end, I'm sure. Just hopefully we could be in that battle come Pomona.
There you go. JR, congratulations on this win and the last win and everything that's happening for you guys right now. It's like we're in the middle of it. This is not like a one event kind of thing. You are at peak performance right now, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And, you got Robert, and you got Ron, and you got Hagen. You got so many great guys out there that are all going to be battling. You're right in the middle of it. This is why we watch drag racing. So congratulations. Enjoy it. Thank you. I hope to see you this weekend. And race 2, NHRA Countdown, coming up.
Thanks, Joe. I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, JR. JR Todd with us here on WFO Radio, the Nomex Effect. Doing well. You know what? I'm proud of those guys, Sean and JR. Doing a podcast is hard. Doing any kind of thing that is listener-driven, you build an audience, they come to expect stuff. That's why we have not missed an NHRA Nitro, I don't think, ever in our 10 years. And yes, we're about to start 10 years of WFO. I don't know how many of you folks know that. We certainly don't make a big deal of it, at least haven't yet. But come this November, it will begin the 10th year of WFO Radio, coming up to our 10th anniversary. And there's a whole lot of debate, like, is it the 10th anniversary in November? Is it 10 years of WFO? And it is the start of our 10th season, if you are curious. The start of our 10th season. We got started back in 2009. First show was a champion show, Auto Club Finals. I believe Tony Schumacher was our first guest. And Tony getting to the final round, incidentally. That's a pretty strong performance by the U.S. Army team. As U.S. Army gets ready to depart NHRA, they may go out with a championship. Who knows? But Steve-O obviously trying to hold him down. So we got more to come. We got Vincent Nobile. For you Pro Stock fans, I'm going to ask Vincent about the future of Pro Stock, in addition to his great running out at Maple Grove. Hector Arana Jr., Brian Massingill, working on Sean Bellemeur, all coming up on the show. But right now, I want to tell you about Hangstifer's Metalworking Lubricants. Had a great time out there at the trade show a week ago. WFO Radio listeners were in the house. It all started in 1937 when Dr. Hangstifer established the company. Yes, Hangstifer is named after a person. His family continues to uphold his vision to this day. They've got all kinds of products, but they're metalworking lubricants, non-foaming coolants, cutting oils, non-hazardous, non-irritating, non-toxic. They're free of amines and boron and chlorine and hydrocarbons. But the ultimate goal is to make you more productive in the machine shop. And so if you're cutting and working with metals, Hangstifer's can help you out. They've got more than 100 affiliates throughout the world. It's a global network, and it's perfectly integrated with their research and development manufacturing facilities to help you take advantage of the best service possible. Their products are engineered to increase productivity and reduce downtime without a compromise to health, safety, and environmental requirements. Think about that. That is all very, very important. Hangstifer's products offer consistent, reliable performance at the best value available. Eliminate bacteria, foam problems, improve surface quality, and extend tool life. Oh, how big is that? Lower your production costs and reduce waste. Hangstifer's on board with DSR and JFR and Antron Brown and Matt Sackman and WFO. And I think that is so cool. And I got to mention Zach Sackman as well. And I would imagine that Zach is going to be racing and entered into Top Dragster out in St. Louis. I got to hang with the family out there a year ago, and the Top Dragster field this weekend in St. Louis is going to be mega. Get ready. What's the record low bump? It's going to be broken this weekend, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Hangstifer's.com, Hangstifer's Metalworking Lubricants. Big thanks to Hangstifer's for coming on board with WFO Radio. All right, we got more to come. Stick around. Vincent Nobile, we're going to be talking Pro Stock next.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me. Why do you listen? WFO, you guys are number one.
Honest. Listen.
Hey, racers and race fans, I want to tell you about the motorsports guys. Terry McMillan from Elkhart, Indiana, has got a new venture, and we want you to hit the website. They've got all kinds of great new parts, pieces, filters, oils on there, including Amelie's new Pro Racing 70 oil with Molly. It's used by many professional drag racers, including Terry McMillan, for larger turning curves and avoiding those drop cylinder moments. It saves bearings and crankshafts and provides more compression with better ring seal and less fuel in your oil. You can get it at motorsportsguys.com. We'll carry Amelie, they carry Wolf's Head Oil and Lubricants, Molly Filters, K&N Filters, All-Star Performance Racing, and high-performance parts from Motor State Distributing and Lane Automotive. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They're going to have it all. But most importantly, oil, Amelie, better than it has to be since 1903, available at motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it, motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan stepping up as a supporter of WFO Radio. Check them out, motorsportsguys.com. Catspotlitter.com. Got to check them out. And, of course, think about getting a cat. There's so many little kitties out there that need a home. They need a home. But it's the litter. No, now you've got catspotlitter.com. So check it out. Cat Spot Litter, new supporter of WFO Radio.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure at frankhawley.com.
Hey, this is Joe Castello, and we'll be back to the show in a second. But first, I want to tell you about CompetitionPlus.com. There's a reason CompetitionPlus.com is the leader among drag racing electronic magazines. Their trained staff is always on alert and always asking the tough questions. The end result is hard-hitting drag racing journalism with up-to-the-minute reporting. For over a decade, CompetitionPlus.com has been a pioneer as drag racing's go-to source for the latest in news, race coverage, and high-quality photography. Their trained staff thrives on getting the inside stories, and their columnists study their topics before they hit their first keystroke. When it comes to covering the races, they leave you feeling as if you've actually been to the race. CompetitionPlus.com is an honest-to-goodness, free drag racing magazine published by the most passionate of drag racing fans, who just happen to be journalists. Don't wonder what's going on in the drag racing world. Be in the know daily. Log on to CompetitionPlus.com.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
This podcast just rolls on, and I want everybody to know, we got our Ignition show, which is pure entertainment. We got our Sports Collision in there, show within a show, all sports talk, a lot of fun, light, 2 minutes per subject. We have a good time. The object is entertainment, Ignition. This object is to give the stars of NHRA drag racing a platform for their personalities. A platform. Now, last week we had a great show. John DeBartolomeo from Drag Racing Edge magazine and I had an hour-long, just free-flowing discussion. It was an interview that had gone awry in that we just started talking. And next thing you know, it was like 50 minutes later. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to tag this on the end of the show and make it a 4-hour show? Or am I going to make it its own separate thing or what? And I tagged it onto the show, and the people who wanted to listen. You wouldn't believe, but I got way more feedback about that conversation than anything else. Talked about pro stock, the future of pro stock, about drag racing, who can afford it, is it affordable, is it too expensive, what's the story? We just rambled, and it was a lot of fun, and I got a lot of positive feedback. That is in the archive. All that is coming up. Discussion about pro stock coming up. But the bottom line is this. We are doing these shows. They end up long. I know a lot of people are like, locked into 1 minute or 2 minutes of content. This is not that. This is not a Facebook video. This is not a YouTube meme. This is not a video. This is not, I don't even think you have memes on YouTube. I don't think that's right. I'll have to check with my internet people, like the real diehards. This is long-form listening. Not everybody does it. Some people's brains have been warped by the modern culture to only have an attention span of 5 minutes. Well, you can't get all the information in 5 minutes. You can't. And that's why there's WFO. Because you really want to learn about who these people are. Vincent Nobile is coming up next, but right now I want to tell you about aerospacecomponents.com. 727-347-9915. Kim Cussy and her team. Kimmy's Garage, YouTube show, talking about the products, talking about everything they do. Been doing it for over 30 years. Everything is made in America. We're talking about high-quality components, brakes, shifters, vacuum pumps, pedal sets. They do it all in their state-of-the-art CNC machining centers located in the Tampa Bay, Florida area. Aerospace Components. The titanium wave rotor saves like 2.5 pounds over its steel counterpart. So many great products. They keep expanding their product line. Go to aerospacecomponents.com to find out more. You can get there right on the front page of WFOradio.com. They've been on board with WFO for a while, and we are greatly appreciating what they do. And I can't help but think about the bling factor. When you're talking about brakes for your race car, talking about brakes for your street car, your cool classic, when you're talking about brakes for your street rod, you want to have something that's cool. Aerospace Components has billet brakes. They work exceptionally well, but they're also offered in many different colors. The pedal sets for Mustangs, the shifters, everything. But in the end, high performance. The titanium wave brake rotor saves from 5.5 pounds to 2.4 pounds. That's exactly what it's talking about. That is exactly why you're doing it. Go to aerospacecomponents.com, 727-347-9915. And when you log on there, be sure to check out Kim Cussy's show, Kimmy's Garage. She talks about the importance about all the products, what they do, what they're made of, how they're made, all of these things. Check them out, aerospacecomponents.com. Next up, Pro Stock Factory Hot Rods. Joining us now, he was the Pro Stock winner out there at the Dodge NHRA Nationals at the Grove, Vincent Nobile. Vincent, welcome back.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me, man.
So many cool aspects of the win I want to talk to you about. You have been very successful at the Grove, one of your home tracks, close to your home area, but also winning with Hector. Like, that's got to be just great. You and your brother-in-law, and I know you guys are like brothers, hanging out in the practice tree down there in the basement, to win together. I know that was a dream. How cool is the reality?
It's, it's priceless. It really is. He's, I couldn't ask for a better brother-in-law. I consider him more of a brother than a brother-in-law. And, he's just such a great guy. Like I keep saying, I just couldn't have gotten a better guy for my sister to marry. But to be able to race with him is just, even that much better. And when we get to win together, it just makes the day, even that much more spectacular. Just the emotions with it all, and, the whole family there, like you said, and, we all get to celebrate together. It's surreal.
Yeah, so cool. And we're going to hopefully hear from Hector Jr. on this show right after you. And you got a message for him? Anything you want me to hit him with? Any inside story that I can, surprise him with? Like, how would I have known that?
I don't got nothing, We talk on a daily basis. I shot him over a text today, just telling him how much I love him, because I saw a video of his reaction to, when I had won. And, it's just pure emotion. To have someone that close to you and to see how happy they are when you win, it's a really special thing for me to know I have someone that close to me, and I just love him to death.
Yeah, he was super happy, and you gave him a kiss, and that was a very Italian thing to do, which I get, but other people may not get that. But that's an Italian thing to do.
That's all right. That's okay. I don't care what anyone thinks. He needed a kiss right then and there, so I smacked one on him.
That's great. No, it's great. And for those that don't understand, I'm sorry you don't get it. It's a thing.
Exactly.
The Italians are very, caring, emotional people. It's just the way it is.
That's
All right. Let's get into your round by round, because it was tough, and it's always going to be tough in Pro Stock, because Pro Stock is a race that is, it's a hole shot. Everybody is winning and losing on hole shots now. And it's just amazing how close the field is in terms of point standings. We'll get to that. But let's talk about your round one matchup where, top to bottom, qualifying was close. You had to go up against Matt Hartford. He's got elite power. You're 019. He's 023. You run a 57. He runs a 59. And you're on your way to round two.
Yeah, that was a good old drag race. Unfortunately, with, multiple elite powered cars out there, it's inevitable you're gonna race one of them more than likely in the first round. If anything, in the next few rounds. But it's you never want to race your team cars. But like I said, it is what it is. There's too many of us out there to avoid that. But it was a great race between me and Matt. We both left the starting line well. Unfortunately, my car was just able to outrun him that little bit, and on to the next round.
Where you were matched up against Erica, another elite car who is very hungry to go out there and do well. We spoke with Rick Jones last week, and he was just kind of giving the 30,000-foot view from the team and felt really good. So here you guys go. You got to run each other. You knew she was going to be on the starting line real strong. You're 023, she's 024. So a thou advantage to Vincent. You run a 59.4. She runs a 60. You go into the semis.
Yeah, that was, to have to race two of our team cars in the first two rounds, like I said, it's just a bummer. But unfortunately, we got the good end of the stick and turned on the win light. I don't know if everybody was watching or could even see through the broadcast, but that was actually a little bit of a scary round for us. I had staged, and when I put it to the chip, the car actually jumped up in the beams on me, just like a little bit, and my foot had kicked back a little bit on the clutch pedal, which is why I jumped. And I was just saying to myself, "Oh God, please don't red light, because you have to be pretty much as shallow as possible in these cars. If you're on your game, it's very easy to red light." So I was able to keep my cool, and obviously the green light turned on with a 023, I think it was, and it all worked out. But I have to say that was my lucky round of the day.
There you go. Semifinals, Greg Anderson is getting through Derek Kramer and Jeg to get to the semis. The other side of the ladder, it's Tanner and Drew Skillman. They're going to the semis. So Greg Anderson standing in your way, and he has been so tough over the course of the season. He left on you, but you drove around.
He did. He did leave on me. That was, I believe, my worst light of the day. For some reason, I just missed it a little bit on the tree that round. But fortunately, I had the car to back me up. You know, it's a team effort winning these races, and you know, fortunately, I had the car behind me that time to get the round win. But you know, Greg's been tough all year. He's been fast, and I think what played a big role in that win was gaining lane choice by 1 thou. You know, both over Erica and over Greg, we got lane choice by 1 thou, which was pretty critical. And I think that had a lot to do with winning that round. So, like I said, hats off to my guys, my team for giving me the car to drive around.
Wow, yes, exactly. And so now you're going to the final, a very familiar place at Maple Grove. What is it about the Grove? Is it just because you're around friends and family? But this particular race has been very good to you over your career.
It's certainly been pretty good. You know, unfortunately, last year I didn't get to make it out there. You know, we had struggled at the end of the year last year and decided, you know, let's regroup, let's get a new car and see what happens. So, like you said, the Grove's been treating me good. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's, you know, all the family support rooting me on. It certainly makes the win that much better. But, you know, it's basically back-to-back wins for me at Maple Grove since I wasn't there last year. So it's 8 straight win lights. Looking forward to next year now. Hopefully we can continue that.
Well, I'm looking forward to next race. You and Drew in the final round. You're 0-13. You really brought it down. Slight hole shot. 6 thou advantage went to Drew. Drew took out Tanner, which that helps you out a lot. It helps out everybody, the whole category. They're teammates. And Drew Skillman has made it, you know, known that he may not be back full-time next year because of just the commitment of pro stock and all. But he's going down swinging this year, takes out Tanner, and then you're able to take him out, and it just totally changes the complex of the points. You're 18 points out of the lead. Tanner leads. That's 1 round of racing, basically. Greg, 30 back. Erica, 52 back. Drew, 55 back. Jeg, 56 back. And you got a shot to win the championship, Vincent. It was made a point of the entire broadcast that you weren't going to run the whole season. Now you're 5 races away from a championship. Tell me about, you know, how you handle that. What's going on with the team? This position you're in is exceptionally rare.
Yeah, I mean, without a doubt. So we'll go back to last year. Like I said, we had struggled, and we needed to just regroup as a team. As everybody knows, it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot of your time, and it's, you know, it's hard. It's hard to race this 24 race schedule, especially when you have businesses back at home and all that. So we had started this year, you know, kind of play by ear and see how we do. Our schedule had started, and we said we were going to go to the first 4 races and just kind of go from there. And you know, honestly, winning that race in Vegas was a solidifier for me and my team to just say, hey, you know, we got a really good shot at this. Let's race the full season. And that's kind of what happened there. And like you said, you know, we're in a pretty good spot right now, being a little less than a round out of first place. But we got to go race by race. It's really anybody's race out there once you get to the track, especially in pro stock. There's been so many different winners. The parity of the class is just, you know, you can't compare it. You know, there's just, you know, like I said in the interview yesterday, you know, every team has the capability of winning, and it's the team that crosses their T's and dots their I's and has the perfect day that, you know, ends up with the trophy at the end of the day. So we just need to continue doing what we're doing. We need to stay focused, and you know, the championship essentially could be won and lost by 1 point, and we need to try and focus on qualifying a little bit more and getting some small points. I think that's going to be big.
Agree. Absolutely agree. All right, quick question. Same subject in that I want to know what you think about the rumblings about the future of pro stock. We had those mountain motor guys do a exhibition at the U.S. Nationals. It was neat. People are talking about, you know, the possibilities. I'm sure you've heard some of the ramblings, like what may not. all of that. I know you love pro stock, and I do too, and we want what's best, and, who knows what's best. But, give me your assessment of, with 5 races remaining in 2018, what may end up being the final year of 500 cubic inch only pro stock. This is pretty significant. What do you think?
Yeah. You know what? Like you said, I love pro stock. So here's a funny little thing that always happens. You get fans, they come up to you and say, "Oh, when are you going to move up? When are you going to move up to Top Fuel or Funny Car?" And my answer is always, I'm up there already. I'm at the top. This is where I want to be. This is what I do. This is what I consider the top of NHRA. This pro stock is different from Top Fuel and all that stuff, and this is what I love to do. But as far as the class and what's best, obviously we need more cars out there. We need some more interest, and I don't think it's a bad idea to incorporate the mountain motor cars, as long as we could, as a group, find parity between the two different cars. It could be a good thing. It could only just bring more cars. It's definitely going to bring other manufacturers out there, such as Dodge again and Ford. So that'll be a good thing. It should bring some fan appeal. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't, especially with having the different manufacturers out there. Because not for nothing, nobody likes to see a Camaro winning every weekend, other than me, being that I'm in one. But there's definitely Ford fans out there and Dodge fans out there that would like to see some of their brand cars out there winning rounds and winning races. And I already know there's a few Dodges out there with mountain motors, and there's certainly a bunch of Fords. So that being said, that's one of the good things. And, the main thing is to just figure out how to make the two cars, close to running the scene. It seems like NHRA does a great job with the Pro Mod cars as far as keeping them, in sync. And even, top alcohol dragsters, they have 2 different combinations. And, you have one of each winning a race here or there. And there's even a motorcycle with a bunch of different combinations, and you don't see the same team winning each weekend there either. So, it could work. It just needs you need to put your heads together, and just got to make it happen.
There you go. No, I like your attitude, and I'm not totally against it for those reasons. The Camaro thing, even if you are a General Motors person. The fact that, let's call it 2/3 of the fans out there, the Ford and the Chrysler people, that they got no reason to even look. They got no reason to watch Vincent Nobile because their guys are not out there. And so they feel bad about that. I wouldn't want to, have a party where everyone's only forced to drink what I like to drink. You know what I mean? It seems like that's what we're dealing with. I appreciate you sharing your opinion. Vincent, good luck. We'll see you in St. Louis. Here we go. You got a shot to win the title. 18 points out. Tanner, Greg Anderson, Erica, Drew, Jeg, all in it. Can't count out Jason, Derek. Those guys at the bottom of the points, though, need to get moving. You got a hot start. That's what you need. Good job.
That's it. Definitely got the momentum on my side. Now we just got to keep going.
There you go. Vincent, thanks for coming on WFO Radio. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
Vincent Nobile with us here on WFO Radio. Vincent getting the win. Yeah, back-to-back at the Grove. He just missed last year. Last time he was there, he got the win. And that is big. Pro stock, the conversation about pro stock, going back to the Johnny D conversation, going back to the mountain motors, listening to what Vincent says. I am an open-minded person. I am open-minded. I am not the kind of person who is going to say something is negative before I know. I'm just going to sit on the idea and wait till it all plays out. But that having been said, if you're a 500 cubic inch guy, why would you stay a 500 cubic inch guy? Why would you not build an 830 cubic inch mountain motor and apply every possible trick that you have learned on the 500 cubic inch engines to the mountain motor engines? And then go out there and just destroy the mountain motor guys. And maybe that'll happen. And I don't know. Maybe that's what the fun is, right? Maybe the fun is that, Greg and Jason or whoever, elite, who knows? Maybe that's the fun of it. But what we are watching, this level of competition where how many races were decided by hole shots? Just amazing. But, if you don't like it and you're a Ford or a Chrysler fan, I get it. There's no cars that you're into. You're not into the Camaros. You're into other stuff. But I find it hard to believe there were Mustangs and Dodge whatevers out there. And there is Alan Przezinski, the last Dodge. Want to give him credit. But I think you would love it. I think it's not necessarily the formula. I would like to see them go faster. But I think it's just the lack of manufacturers. I think that is the ultimate issue. But when Pro Stock comes up, I'm excited. People talk about, when Pro Stock comes up. No, when Pro Stock comes up, I am excited. I'm thrilled to see who's going to race whom, and, Erica and Tanner and Vincent and Greg and Jason and everybody. Chris McGahey has developed into quite the personality. These guys got character out there. It's a lot of fun, Pro Stock. Of all the championships, I think it is absolutely wide open. Drew Skillman taking down Tanner Gray. Wow. Great stuff. Great race. Great stuff. Thanks to Vincent for coming on the show. Hector Jr., Brian Massingill, all coming up. Everybody's coming up. Right now, though, I want to tell you about HusseyPerformance.net, meaning quality copper gaskets to your exact specifications. Any bore, any size, any thickness. From 500 cubic inch nitro burning Hemis to turbocharged Pro Mods, Honda engines, tractor engines, whatever it is, do you need a gasket made out of copper? That's what we're talking about. HusseyPerformance.net. Or call David Allen, 724-318-8292. 724-318-8292. Go to HusseyPerformance.net. You can see a list of everything that they do. But what makes them better? That is the good question. What makes them better? And the answer is 40 years of experience in the copper industry. If you've been doing anything for 40 years, you probably know a little bit about it. Most importantly, where and how to purchase copper at the tightest tolerances. Like, who is the best here? We're talking about 0.005 of an inch. And they stock gaskets in increments of 1/1000 of an inch. So if you're a nitro team, if you're an alcohol team, if you're a Pro Mod team, you go through a lot of gaskets, you want to make those right tuning calls, you need to stock some Hussey gaskets, increments of 1/1000 of an inch. And David Allen from Ambridge, Pennsylvania, personally inspects every single gasket that they ship. Think about that. Every single gasket that they ship. And I've seen him out there at the NHRA, rolling around with his little cart, delivering gaskets. Very fun. There he goes, the gasket man, getting it done. David Allen. 724-318-8292, and that is his personal, that goes directly to David. 724-318-8292 if you want to order some gaskets from Hussey. I think it is great. One more thing, everything made in America, including all their machines. It's important to them. When they were thinking about, what do we need? What are we going to get? What are we going to do? They wanted to make sure everything was made in America. And that's something we've been promoting on WFO radio forever. Since the very beginning, going back to the early 90s, I remember huge arguments with people, big beefs, because of, championing made in America. And they're doing it too. Good job. HusseyPerformance.net, 724-318-8292. Next up, Hector Arana Jr., Vincent Nobile's brother-in-law, and they're tied in wins. How cool is that?
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, race fans, this is Joe Castello here to tell you about RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. The summer is over. Winter is coming. Make sure you can wake up every day in the cold winter with a cup of Rodax coffee by going to RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com or give him a call. Marvin Rodak, a big WFO radio listener, NHRA fan down there in Fort Worth, Texas, 817-924-6821. They have got over 40 single original coffees to choose from, plus custom special blends like WFO Radio Blend or Bang the Blower. It's what everybody's talking about. Get some for yourself. All specialty grade coffee represents the top 5% of coffee grown in the world. They're all roasted fresh per order. And there are limited edition seasonal and rare micro lots of coffee available. They've got exotics like Sumatra Kopi Luwak, Panama Geisha, Australia, the Hawaii Kona coffee. They've got it all. Get on the phone, 817-924-6821 for Rodax Coffee and Grills.com.
Get fired up on the WFO line.
WFO, Joe.
954-889-6796.
Just been an absolute joy to be a drag racing fan.
Go wide open, and your call may be used on the show.
Or preface by saying I'm not a Kurt Busch fan or apologist. I don't know where Greg Anderson's ego is gone, but I know one person that's going to be a big-time villain in pro stock.
That's 954-889-6796. That phone line is always WFO.
Right now, I want to tell you about new sponsor, audible.com/WFO Nitro. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. And you might be thinking, well, what is audible.com? And the fact is, listen, you guys are listeners. You listen like me. People who like to listen to something while they're driving, while they're on a plane. Maybe it's not music. Sometimes you want your brain to be activated in a different way. And that's where audible.com/WFO Nitro comes in. It's anytime, anywhere listening. You can listen to your books wherever you are with their free app at home, in the car, at the gym. You can even switch devices and you'll never lose your place. They've got the biggest selection ever. No one's got more listens than Audible. You don't like one? No questions asked. Return it means exchange is easy. Go to audible.com/WFO Nitro. That is our own link specifically for you WFO radio listeners. Go on there, get your free trial, and try it out, especially everybody that's in the NHRA that's traveling all over the place. Let's get an education together. Let's learn about stuff. And check out audible.com/WFO Nitro. And thank you very much to the folks at Audible for jumping on with our podcast.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
The NHRA Countdown, it is on. My favorite time of the year, and just open your mind to it. I know. I heard Jack Beckman on the TV broadcast. You know, I'm not a fan of the countdown. So many drivers, I'm not a fan of the countdown. Look, here's the thing. Baseball players, I'm not a fan of the wild card. I'm not a fan of the World Series anymore. I wish there was no playoffs and just the best record in each league goes to the World Series. That is the equivalent. That is an equivalent. I think it is bad form to constantly the countdown is a problem. If you went back to no countdown, I assure you, 3/4 of the way through the season, it would be a regretted decision. But that's what is that called? A counterfactual? That's a counterfactual. If we do it and then it's terrible, my prediction is that all the same people would be like, well, I didn't mean, we shouldn't have listened to me because, and I'm not calling out Jack, there are others, Steve Torrence and so many others. So many people, they don't really realize how big a deal the countdown is and how it focuses the attention of everybody. And without it, I don't know. I don't think it would be the same. Maybe I'm wrong. And I also leave my mind open to that possibility. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see it. Again, Major League Baseball, think about eliminating the playoffs. No playoffs. Best record, each league, World Series, that's it. That's what you're talking about. That's a pretty strong analogy. Now, the Major League Baseball folks will tell you, hey, we had a whole bunch of games and we get a chance to make a whole bunch more money. Are you adding anything? And the answer is no, we're not adding anything. I do think people want to go to the countdown races, though. Maple Grove was packed. The countdown races are big, important races. But I get what you're saying. But in the end, this is it. This is what it is. This is where champions are decided. Now is the time. You should be feeling the excitement and electricity. You should be feeling it. I'm feeling it. And excitement, too. All right, it's time to keep on moving. Brian Massingill from SAMTech.edu going to be coming up a little bit later on in the show. He's next segment, but right now I want to tell you about SAMTech and how you can start your education at full speed. The School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. We're talking about motorsport EFI tuning. We're talking about an Associate of Applied Science degree. It's a military-friendly school. They're approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Practical, hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, at the track. blockheads, CNC programs, everything. This is for someone who is thinking, I love motorsports, I want to be involved. You don't necessarily want to be like a shade tree guy, if there's such a thing anymore. You want to get a real job and a real team and a real engine shop. You want to go somewhere that's going to help you get a job. SAMTech.edu. Check them out. They got a great program. The campus down there, approximately Houston, Texas area. I have been to the campus, except they have expanded and are expanding since I have been there. So very interesting stuff. SAMTech.edu. Check them out. We got Brian Massingill coming up. But now, Pro Stock Motorcycle. Joining us now, he is the Pro Stock Motorcycle winner out there at the Grove. Got the job done. Big for the championship hopes. Moving up to second in the standings, just 3 behind Eddie Krawick. Mr. 200, Hector Arana Jr. Hector, welcome back.
Joe, it's good to be back on this show. When I'm back on here, it means I had a great weekend.
You did. And so did your brother-in-law. We just heard from Vincent not long ago, and he said that he was in the water box, and when you got the win, he's like, I can't let him break our tie in wins. I got to win now. And you both won. First time you guys have won together, from what I understand.
Well, it's the first time we've won together since we're brother-in-laws, but this is actually our 4th race we've won together.
Oh, wow. Okay, since brother-in-laws. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
And he said he was super pumped to see your reaction. Your reaction down there was on camera, and you were fired up.
Oh, yeah. You know what? We're best friends other than being brother-in-laws. We hang out together all the time, and we're constantly pushing each other, talking about racing, downstairs in my basement, playing on the practice tree. So we definitely feed off of one another, and when we see the one guy doing good, it definitely pushes us even harder to try to maintain and keep up with one another. So it's awesome.
Well, let's talk about the countdown in that, you made a championship move here. You've had a strong bike all year long. Your dad has been struggling a little bit, and I know you guys have been working on that, but your bike has been quick and fast throughout the season. You won that 200 mile per hour bonus and all of that. Have you been working to get the bike right for these final 6 races? Because you come out of the box and completely close up the points lead to only 3 points behind Eddie, which means you're in the mix.
Oh, yeah, definitely. All year we've been working on getting the bike consistent, and we've been trying lots of different little things, which has, in qualifying it might not look like we're that consistent or even throughout the rest of the races, but it was just all different kinds of tests and preparation for the countdown, and just to figure out and learn what the bike likes and wants in different weather conditions. So, like you said, we definitely have a championship contender with my bike. It's very consistent, it's fast, and we actually had to race my backup engine this weekend, which is a little down on power from the race motor, and we were still able to pull through and get the win. So I'm excited and looking forward to getting the race motor back in the frame rails, and we have a good chance. I feel really comfortable on race day. I've been riding good, getting good lights, so I'm ready, Joe. I'm hungry, and I'm ready to win.
Yeah, look at that. First round, Ron Turnow, Rat, 007 light, but you powered right by him to the second round matchup against Joey Gladstone. Joey, 003 first round, 008 second round, one of the best levers in the category. You had to get up on the bike, and you were 018, and then you ran an 88.5, so the bike was running well, and you were driving well.
Yes.
Big deal there to bring it. And then the semis against Eddie, these are the matchups you've got to win against the Harleys. Let's face it, not to take anything away from anybody, no disrespect to anyone, but if you can't beat the Harleys, you can't be a champion. That's pretty much it. That's the way it is.
That's right. No, they're consistent, they're steady, and we actually made a pretty big change going to race up against him because the way we looked at it is like we have nothing to lose, we have to win, and when we only ran the 88 and he ran the 85 the run before us, we said we have to do something different. We have to go faster. We had an issue where we kept spinning a little bit off the starting line, so we said we got to make a change. So we went for it. We made a big change, and we only picked up a little bit, but we stayed consistent and ran another 88 where Eddie slowed down.
And that's it. Those are the differences that win and lose races. Your 88 sends you to the final round, other side of the ladder. Ellie Tonglet, 003 red against Matt Smith. Wouldn't have mattered if he was perfect. Matt with an 81. That had to be a little shocking. You're going up against Matt Smith. He's got the same body that you have now, and he uncorks an 81. How did you prepare for the final?
You know what? I was up there at the top end with Eddie, and we were looking to see who was going to win. And like you said, when we heard Matt run at 81, Eddie and I were both like, 81? How do you do that in this weather? And but I heard the speed, and when you hear an 81, he only went 197. And I'm running the same speed. It's the short times. He was able to get it hooked up and make a good run down low, and that's what you have to do. And so we went back to the trailer, downloaded, looked at all our information, and like I said, we were slowly working for it, and we were going in the right direction, and we just kept going in that same direction that we were going all weekend, tuning the bike, and we were able to tune an 84 out of the bike on the finals, which I thought it was a pretty big move from running an 88 to run an 84. Was pretty big, and I don't know what happened to Matt. He said a fuel line came loose or something like that. But either way, when you look at our incremental times, I had a better 60-foot. I was better than him to the 330 and even the 8th mile. So I don't know if he would have been able to run it all the way out. I think we would have had him no matter what.
And it doesn't matter because you got to the stripe and you had a 003 light. He was 029, so he would have had to uncork another 81 to be in the neighborhood to take the win. The fact that you're able to tune 400ths out of it for the final, that's pretty incredible. Looking at the points, Eddie first, you second, 3 points back, Matt third, 37 back, Ellie 40 back, Andrew 47 back, and I really feel like that those are the drivers that we're going to have a chance at the championship. Jerry's in the mix too, but he's going to have to make a big move. To pass 5 guys is a great challenge. Let's talk about St. Louis. Let's talk about what you're doing. You already mentioned you can have the race motor back and your chances to go all the way.
Yeah, like I said, Joe, I feel good. I haven't had really, like to say, those race day butterflies. I've just felt really confident in my ability on racing on race day, and I attribute that to the practice on the Christmas tree and just getting down my consistency with the lights that I've had. I know I was slow the one time there yesterday, but I don't know if that was a fast tree or whatever it may be. But anyways, for the most part, I've been very pleased with my lights. I'm really focused on the tree and on the starting line. And because of that focus and that confidence, I go up there confident, feeling that I'm going to win. And I attribute that to the practice and to all my team's efforts giving me the fast Lucas Oil motorcycle that I have. So when you go up there with a strong bike, a fast bike, you don't have to worry about cutting a light. You just go up there and you focus on a tree and you react. And if you do that, you should be able to get a good light, and then all you have to do is ride your bike. And I haven't been looking over. I'm not worried about the other driver. I have blinders on my helmet. I'm just focused on making my run and looking down at the top end for my wind light.
Yeah, Matt was staring over at you for the final round. You did not acknowledge his existence. It was kind of dramatic to watch.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even realize he was looking at me that hard until we watched it afterwards, and I kind of chuckled a little bit, but I was pleased with myself. Myself and my whole team. Nobody acknowledged him. We were focused on the one and only thing, and that was getting me straight, lined up, and winning the race. My team, myself, we were all focused on the number one goal. We weren't looking over at the other team. We didn't care about the other team. They were just the guy to turn on the pre-stage lights for us, and that was it.
There you go. Hector, congratulations on this huge win, massive win, great victory, first race of the countdown. You have championship hopes and aspirations. It's going to be a great battle all the way through the countdown, right down to Pomona. I wish you luck.
Thank you very much. And, I just got to say, again, congratulations to my brother-in-law, Vincent Nobile, and to J.R. Todd and Steve Torrence. Great wins by all of us. the first win I feel like is the one that you really need to kick off the countdown. It gives you that confidence and the motivation, that boost to really to get rolling. It's nothing like being right there in the mix in the very beginning instead of having to play catch up. So we're very excited, and we can't wait to get to the next race.
So cool. Hector, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Joe, thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, Hector. Hector Arana Jr. with us here on WFO Radio. And I'm hearing confidence out of Hector Jr. And I've been getting confidence out of Ellie Tonglet and Matt Smith last week on the show. How about Matt getting the WFO bump, going all the way to the final round? Right? Going all the way to the final round. Pro Stock Motorcycle is going to be fun. Last year was a walkover. Eddie Krawick just dominated. This year, Eddie still has the points lead, but anything can happen. Coming up next, Brian Massingill from SAMTech, going to talk Factory Stock Showdown in St. Louis. Get you up to speed on the points chase. And then, final segment, Troy Coughlin Jr. and Sean Bellemeur are alcohol winners. And you might be thinking to yourself, oh boy, Joe hasn't mentioned Troy Coughlin Jr. the whole show. And the answer is he's the last-second addition to the program. This show is constantly evolving. It's evolving to the very last second. And that's what we do. We got a deadline. We do as much as we possibly can. As much as we possibly can. You know who else does as much as they possibly can? Is Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure, frankhawley.com. Open a browser, go to frankhawley.com right now. One of our longest-running sponsors, Frank and Lana, big supporters of WFO, and I'm a big supporter of them because they do something that so few people can do, and it is take a fan, a spectator, a bench sitter who is out there watching from the bleachers, and they give them a taste of racing that may help them become a racer. And think about that. Drag racing is a participant sport, folks. It really is. It's not like NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One. You're not doing it. You're not doing it. Very little chance to do it. But drag racing, you can do it. Now, you're not going to go immediately to Top Fuel, but you can go drive a dragster at Frank Hawley for $399. You get multiple passes down the track, a half track and 2 full tracks, talking about 130 miles per hour in the quarter mile, talking about side-by-side racing possibly if you want that. 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. You can go with your buddies. You can go with your sales team. You can go with a group, set up an actual race, compete in an actual race, and feel the thrill of competition, the thrill of acceleration, the thrill of deceleration, and being totally in control of one of these dragsters. Courses start at $399. I think it is a great gift. A gift for a racing fan, for an adrenaline junkie, the person who always loves to do extreme things and have great experiences. Go to frankhawley.com. Check out Dragster Adventure booking dates right in the middle at the top. Or call them 866-480-7223. Great people over there, very knowledgeable over there, and they'll get you started. And why not go to your local Saturday night track and do some bracket racing? Why not spend a little time at the drag strip in addition to going to national events? And realize, like bowling, like golf, like softball leagues, like so many other things where people get a chance to compete, you can compete in drag racing, and it's not that expensive. You know, you can't be totally broke and do it. I give you that. But what sport can you? Try to go to the golf course and be totally broke. It's not going to work. If you want to get involved in a hobby, you want to have a great experience, you want to set up your friends with a fantastic gift for the holidays, go to frankhawley.com, the Dragster Adventure, 866-480-7223. When we come back, Brian Massingill from SAMTech going to tell us all about the SAMTech Factory Stock Showdown, then our alcohol winners.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Oh, the sound of a tiny kitten. How great is that? Maybe you should get one. But then, what are you going to do about the litter box? The only downside to having a cat. The litter box. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do with the litter box? And the answer is catspotlitter.com. The folks at CatSpot have developed something new. Their litter is made with one simple ingredient, and that's coconut. It has no harmful allergens, no chemicals for your feline friend or you, because you got to get in there. CatSpot is 100% all natural. It's both odor eliminating and hypoallergenic. It's made right here in America, and the best part about it is they support NHRA Mellow Yellow drag racing on the side of Scott Palmer's car, guys like Dom Lagana, guys like Joe Castello and WFO Radio. That guy is awful. CatSpotLitter.com. You got to check it out. New supporter of WFO Radio.
Android and iPhone users, for the full version of WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, download the WFO Radio app. It's sports radio for racing fans.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The ultimate racing show, including WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio Ignition, the WFO Radio NASCAR Tailgate Party, news, videos, push notifications, and more.
I just hope I'm part of it.
Go to the App Store or Android Market, search WFO Radio, and download it now.
Hey, everybody, this is Joe Castello. When I'm at the racetrack, I am always checking out the cars to see what's hot, what's cool, what is the nicest and best and most effective part piece out there. And what I am finding is that the folks at Aerospace Components have got it going on. They've been in business for over 30 years. Everything is made in America, and they are family-owned and operated. Aerospace Components is a name known throughout the racing industry as one of the leaders in manufacturing high-performance drag racing products. And if you go to their website right now, Aerospace Components, you can check out exactly what I'm talking about. Check it out. That's aerospacecomponents.com. Let them know you heard it on WFO.
This is Sean from Traverse City, Michigan. You ever get done with an episode of Ignition or Nitro and say, man, that's a good job. I'd like to give them a pat on the back and a cold beer. Well, with Patreon, you can. So send that drink down to Gio and Joe.
Hey, racers and race fans, I want to tell you about the motorsports guys. Terry McMillan from Elkhart, Indiana, has got a new venture, and we want you to hit the website at motorsportsguys.com. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They're going to have it all, but most importantly, oil, Amalie, better than it has to be since 1903, available at motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it, motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan stepping up as a supporter of WFO Radio. Check him out, motorsportsguys.com.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Time to get into it with Brian Massingill about the Factory Stock Showdown. Returns this week out there at Gateway. Brian, welcome back. How are you?
Joe, I'm doing great, buddy. Thanks for having me.
Wow, SAMTech Factory Stock Showdown. And, I'm liking the way this is working with you coming on the show because it gets me hyped up for the event. The cars are so cool. Coming in off Indy, the big go was tremendous. Leah Pritchett taking the win, Mark Powack as the runner-up. And, I don't know if it could have gone much better for the category with two high-profile drivers going out there and running in the final round.
No, that's one of the things. You get, like you said, two high-profile drivers who have a built-in fan base, and, they're not going to see Mark go out and race a pro stocker anymore, and Leah got eliminated in the first round in the Nitro class, and they're still watching. They're still, what did Leah do this weekend? And with all of Leah's sponsors and Mark's, legacy in the sport, you get some more eyes on things, whether that's Hoonigan or Pennzoil or Mopar, just promoting it. So a lot more eyes on this class with that kind of star power, I guess, in the finals. Not to take away from the guys that we've had in the finals this season, because we've had some really great racing all year long, and great champion in David Barton last year, doing everything they can to promote this class and helping and supporting Archie and Stephen Bell and Welch. They're doing what they can to support this class. It's just a little easier when you've got a million followers on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and everything else combined. So good for the DSR team. Great showing last race. And we'll see what happens this week in St. Louis. Yeah,
exactly the point. And let's set the scene for where we are. How many races remaining? From what I understand, St. Louis, And where do we end up now in this 7-race season?
We will be at the first weekend in October. We will be in Ennis, Texas, at the AAA Texas NHRA Fall Nationals.
That is the culmination of the season. Right now, Archie Cohn leads Stephen Bell, both machines tuned by Stanfield with Stanfield Power, 11 points between the two of them. But Joe Welch, who had a trying and challenging U.S. Nationals, 32 points back in third. Leah Pritchett in fourth, 33 points back. And Aaron Stanfield in fifth, 54 points back. I would say any one of those drivers still in the championship mix.
Absolutely. This point last year, there were a lot of hoops that Chuck Watson was going to have to go through to get his Cobra Jet into the finals to win the championship last year. And he almost did it, but David Barton came out ahead. This year, much tighter field from in the top 5 spots. We've had, 4 different race winners out of our season this year, a little different than last year. And again, we had to make a weight change on the Dodges. It seems like they've got a lot more power based on the mile per hour they're running. So the Dodges had 25 pounds added to them, and the Fords and Chevys had 25 pounds taken off of them to kind of, keep the parity in the class going. Can't really have one manufacturer running away with more power or anything like that. So it still is anybody's season. Leah was down there before getting to this final. She had the car to beat in Indy, and nobody could do it. So it took her own teammate to get close.
Absolutely. And 8002 is now the quickest official NHRA side of the world elapsed time. So still knocking on the door. You never know what we will see as we get close and get down to the Motorplex. Maybe we'll break into the 7s. That extra 25 pounds on the Dodges, though, going to be challenging. Losing 25 pounds for the Camaros. Now, I saw some social media traffic about that. And the whole... There are multiple categories. Earlier on in this show, Vincent Nobile and we talked a little bit about the concept of the Mountain Motor Pro Stocks running with the 500 cubic inch Pro Stocks. And he was optimistic that NHRA would be able to keep the two on an even playing field because they have done such a great job with 1, Pro Modified, and 2, with the top alcohol cars. You got a blown configuration, blown on alcohol, and you got injected nitromethane. So people who don't expect there are going to be occasional hits to a car that starts to overwhelm the competition, they just need to look at these other categories and realize that this is how it is. Parity means that great entertaining racing, multiple manufacturers, they're not going to let this category get out of control like they did some of the other ones.
No, and that's really it. The NHRA has been pretty proactive about things, and we sat down and we talked and said, hey, we want this to be, let's use the Pro Stock, the Pro Mod model, and not kind of go away from being just a smaller class. Let us have our time in the sun, as it were. But being able to go out there and use what they've done in Pro Mod and to keep it a competitive class and to keep the class count full, that's really what we're modeling ourselves after. Everyone wanted to call this Pro Stock 2.0 or the next Pro Stock, but Pro Stock's not going anywhere. They're going to find a way to keep those classes full, and just same way we are. We're going to make sure that there's parity and that everyone's kind of playing by the same rules. Dodge and Ford and Chevy are working really hard right now to make sure that everything they have is even. And maybe it hasn't necessarily been, but it looks like the NHRA and the manufacturers are all getting on the same page. And they're going to keep this a competitive class so that it doesn't run away from any of the racers that have invested so much time, energy, and effort into it already.
Well, exactly. If you like the category, you should want it to remain healthy, and what will keep it healthy is an occasional adjustment. And if you hadn't been, you had to be there to really understand how the Dodges were thundering down the second half of the racetrack. They were just destroying everybody in the second half of the racetrack. And it was starting to, thoughts were entering minds uh-oh, this could be a runaway now. This could be the combination that starts to dominate. And I applaud the NHRA for saying, not so fast. We're gonna change some of the balance.
Quite literally, not so fast. Yeah, that's one of the things. For us, we have this equalizer on that 9-inch tire, and the Chevys and the Fords really leave off the line a lot harder. 119, 60 foots, things like that. Whereas the Dodges can save all that power they've got and get down the track at the back half, or even out once they get past the 60 foot and get those front tires back down. But yeah, you can really see it in that 60 foot time. That's they know they can pull timing and kind of get down the track a little bit safer, not have to not hold. They don't have to put it all on the line at the start. Whereas the Chevys and the Fords they've got to go after it right from the very get go.
Yeah, well, there you go. And if the track isn't there, can't hold it, they slip over the edge, and all of a sudden they're up in smoke, and that's not nearly as entertaining as two cars going down the racetrack. Now, the Tech Barn, and I don't want to put you in an awkward situation as the sponsor, Brian Massingill from SAMTech, but we all know that the Tech Barn was a highly utilized out there at Indy, and racers are racers. They're going into the gray areas. They're going into areas like what can we do with these cars to make them as quick and as fast as possible, as consistently or easily tunable as possible. The Tech Barn got to work out in Indy.
They did. We had and then didn't have for about 15, 20 minutes there. We had our first 7-second pass out of Joe Welsh, and it was found that he had an adjustable 4-link suspension. He was allowed to tack weld that so that it was no longer adjustable and get back into qualifying. He made it in on the 4th qualifying round into eliminations, and then they tore all of the winners down. They pulled all of them aside and put them in the barn, and they spent probably an hour with everybody in there, maybe 45 minutes. Depending on what they were looking for. They kept all of the Dodges that had won the first round, and then they found an infraction on Joe's. I can't remember what it exactly was.
Throttle body? Was it
manifold,
throttle body?
Throttle body. That's right. Yeah, on the throttle body. Sorry about that. But they found an infraction on Joe's throttle body, and he was thrown out. And Mark Pauk the next morning was put through the same exact teardown that Joe was. They sealed the blowers throughout the race, and they could tell that they hadn't removed the blower or anything like that. And after Mark passed inspection, he was put back in the race for elimination round 2, and the rest is history there. But the NHRA, like I said, they see what's going on in this class, and they pay attention. And obviously, there's some thoughts about what happened and why things happened, and this team wants that. It's the Dodgers are getting screwed again. Well, the Dodgers are getting screwed. They had both cars in the finals at the Chevy Performance U.S. Nationals. If the NHRA is going to do something like that, I would feel like they would probably do it for the title sponsor, not Don Schumacher Racing or Dodge or Mopar or anything like that. And you can really, if you look at these time slips, going back to what we were just talking about a couple minutes ago, you can see that it looks like the Dodgers have some sort of competitive advantage, and it's not for a lack of Chevys and Fords trying. I know that the Stanfield camp and I know that the Barton camp have been at this a very, very long time, and they're very, very good engine builders. And if they could find some more horsepower, they would have it. But everybody's doing everything they can, and I'm glad to see that the NHRA again is taking the steps necessary to make changes to keep the parity, and glad to see that they're taking the class serious and tearing some people down, and they're not afraid to throw some people out.
No, I agree. And Joe, obviously, great guy, won some races earlier this year, and, the details. I'm sure he's got a real, great explanation as to all of those things. I'm not bothered by it. Like, that's racing. This is what racing is all about. You go and you, maybe the interpretation of a certain thing was in question. Like, that's not what I'm worried about. I want racers to go out there and try and push, and that's why we have a tech department. That's why those guys come to the races. They have jobs to, no, that's over the line. We can't let you do that. That's the point of the whole exercise, and I think it's part of racing and like it. Now, all right, another question. David Barton, winless. Shocking.
Absolutely, it really is. And, it's not from a lack of trying. Again, he he's out there busting his butt. It's if you had told me again that, and it's not just David, it's his team. You know, they were so dominant last year, and you know, they kind of had a head start on everybody else coming into this class. They were working on these cars, whether that was the Dodges back in the old Showdown days or Shootout days, and so David's been in this class for a long time, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him pull something out here in the next two races and try to work his way back up into that point standing. But there's a couple more things we need to change that we're talking about for next year, and that's you know, the idea of a pro ladder. It's a little, you know, tough to be number one qualifier and have to race in the middle of the pack and instead of the 16 qualifier there. And so we're gonna try to work on getting that in for next year. And so some of these guys that can't be number one or that know that they can run an 8:03, but they can't run an 8:00, they'll lay back a little bit and try to be that middle of the pack qualifier that gets number 16. So there's some gamesmanship still happening that I'd like to see all these cars running as fast as they can in qualifying, not just in elimination.
Interesting. Yeah. And right there, you just uncovered something that way back in the day, that's why they switched from that ladder. A lot of people are like, well, you know, why the number 16 qualifier has such a terrible chance of beating the number one qualifier, unless you're Mike Smith racing Courtney Force, of course, this past weekend. It still happens. But, you know, why did we switch away from one runs number 9? And the answer is the gamesmanship, and the racers were like, what? That's an advantage? I'll just try to qualify number 8 and then run 16, and it'll be easier that way. And we had to, you know, kill the noise.
Yep, and that's really it. I mean, these racers are like you know, kind of pushing it to the edge every week that they race, and they know their sport inside and out, and that means they know their engines inside out, they know their cars inside out, they know what they've got to do, and there's a lot of chatter online about, oh, this is happening and that's happening and this is what's going to happen. We're pretty confident that between the manufacturers, the racers, the fans, the NHRA, and ourselves, that this class is going to keep thriving and getting some more racers in, and hopefully get out there and keep the fans entertained.
Absolutely. And the one thing that everybody has said to me, you know, anecdotally in my conversations, is that they hope that it is restricted. Like, they do not allow things to get out of control. You know, the day somebody shows up with a car that is like on the ragged edge, cheated up, and goes out there and dominates, that NHRA pulls them back as opposed to allows them to go, because that's just going to cause things to become more expensive and unaffordable, things that have happened to other categories. We have a good thing going on here with the SAMTech Factory Stock Showdown. Archie Cohn leads the points by 11 over Stephen Bell. Joe Welch, 32 back. It's still wide open. Going to be great stuff. Brian, great job as usual. What's the latest, greatest at SAMTech, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology?
We're filled up right now. You know, we've got a couple more starts this year for the block program and the cylinder head program. And if you're interested at all in starting this year, be sure to visit samtech.edu and give one of our admissions representatives and shoot them an email. Come and see us at the track every Showdown race that we attend, or that every race where there is a Showdown race. We have a booth. You can stop by and say hi. Scott will be there, and I am in and out of that booth all day long, running around with the Factory Showdown class, and you know, trying to sign some of the next engine builders up for the NHRA, NASCAR, or wherever they want to go work.
And I think that I always talk about when we do the commercials here that the idea that you go through the course and now you have the knowledge is part of it, but the next level is the connections to actual racing teams, where that's the goal, isn't it? To go work for a racing team or be involved in high-performance industry. You guys have many, many connections, and that is a big part of the school.
Yes, it is. You know, our phones are ringing and emails lighting up every day. Hey, I need somebody. Hey, I need somebody. Hey, I need somebody. I need a EFI calibrator. I need a CNC machinist. I need a cylinder head porter. I need somebody who can assemble blocks, operate a dyno, whatever it is in this industry. we've got our graduates kind of all over the place. So be sure to look us up again, samtech.edu.
Brian, thank you very much. I'll see you this weekend. That is certainly the plan. SAMTech Factory Stock Showdown, getting down to it. 2 races remaining. Very exciting. Still don't know who's going to win the championship, exactly as it should be. Thanks for coming on WFO.
Joe, always a pleasure, buddy.
Thanks, Brian. Brian Massingill from the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology, samtech.edu. And all you kids out there, young people, relatively young people, middle-aged people, this is something you want to do. Go to samtech.edu. And if you're going to be out there in St. Louis, Factory Stock Showdown, baby. Factory Stock Showdown. All right. You know, there's another way to support the program, right? It's called Patreon. patreon.com/WFO radio. And many of our listeners do it. And it's basically you just sign up and you support the program directly. And in exchange, what do you get? Well, you get this show and you get Ignition. And you're saying to yourself, well, we already get those. And yeah, that's true. But you're supporting the show. In addition to that, though, you do get special content on Patreon. Is it secret content? Well, it's not secret content, but it's only available to the Patreons, and insights and all kinds of different stuff that happen behind the scenes. So consider it. Check it out. Patreon.com/WFO radio. All kinds of good stuff on there. In the meantime, download the WFO radio app. That is free. It is free for you. It is new. We'd love for you to write a review to support the show. The more reviews, the better we go. Simple as that. The more reviews, the better we go. So write us a review. Hopefully you like it. Don't even review me. It's not really about me. It's about the stars of NHRA drag racing coming on here, giving you the real deal, giving it to you straight. All right, when we come back, we're going to hear from Troy Coughlin Jr., and we're going to hear from Sean Bellemeur, and then I'll give you a real quick My Time at the very end of the show. Coming up next.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me. Why do you listen? WFO, you guys are number one.
Honest. Listen.
Your education. What are you doing? Look, I know you want to become an engine builder. I know you want to work in a machine shop. I know you know that is a very in-demand position, but you think you could probably learn it by hanging around the shop. The way to do it is to go the School of Automotive Machinist and Technology route. SAMTech.edu, where you can do all of those things except get an accredited education by real racers, where they don't sponsor race cars. Their cars are the curriculum. SAMTech.edu. Motorsports is exploding around the world. It is a job that cannot be outsourced. In fact, they might ship you in to work on their stuff. That's how in demand the job is. Engine builder, machinist, motorsport EFI, they do it all. Check them out, samtech.edu.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
Hey, everybody. How do you start your day? You started off with a little coffee. And do you want something cheap and vacuum-packed with garbage? You want to pay for a retail coffee? It's like $11. Or do you want something that is good, like RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com? Join the Rodax Army. WFO users and listeners know all about it. Over 40 grades to choose from. This is roasted fresh per your order, not to mention hot sauce, spice rub. You got to call Marvin, get on the phone line, or go to the website, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Check it out. That's RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Hussey Performance Copperhead Gaskets. You got to call David directly. 724-318-8292. Hussey Performance Copperhead Gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is HusseyPerformance.net.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio, and you know I always like to catch up with the Lucas Oil Series categories, especially the alcohol ranks, where this past weekend in Funny Car with Sean Bellemeur, we're going to hear from Sean, but right now it's time to check in with our top alcohol dragster winner, his first NHRA national event behind the wheel of an A-Fuel car. Troy Coughlin Jr. is back. Troy, welcome back. How are you?
Oh, doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm great. I'm thrilled. It's good to see you and your extremely fast car career continuing to evolve. You and I have spoken several times. I think you did a great thing by getting involved with the McPhillips, and now you have a national event win to show for it.
It's an absolute blast racing with the McPhillips racing guys. It's just they're so tenacious. They're smart racers. They race the lane that they're in and the conditions that they're given. So it's definitely a blessing. I'm so fortunate to be with them.
Great day at the Grove, obviously qualifying, but then storming through the field. Some really tough opponents. First round got a bye, but then you had to go through, let's see, who'd you go through? You went through Brandon Greco, who got a big first-round win, then Dwayne Shields, and you had to run Josh Hart in the final round. Josh Hart has been just about as tough as anybody out there in the past couple of years. A back-to-back Indy winner, the only back-to-back alcohol Indy winner.
All those guys are tough. It's such a tough class. It's something I never really knew because I wasn't ever really around it. But qualifying reminds me a lot of Pro Mod qualifying. Anybody can step up and make a lap and consistently make laps. And yeah, Dwayne and Josh, to beat those guys, it's an absolute honor.
And so how has, the process been of, we know that you jumped up to top fuel and you took a step back on purpose. You said, you know what, I want to go back to that rung of the ladder that I skipped. And it seems like that was a great decision from the outside. You're now second in the point standings. You're running really well. The car's going straight down the racetrack. Can you elaborate on some of the things that you've learned that maybe you had missed initially?
Well, I've learned a ton with these guys. Rich has also been a great guide along the process as well. But, these long cars, they're different. The finesse is different. It's almost hard to put into summary into words, but you just kind of have to let the car do its thing and kind of settle itself. And if you've got it going straight the first 80 feet, it's got a 90% chance of making it down the racetrack. And you just have to really be ease and finesse with this thing and enjoy it.
Now, as far as national point standings go, Sean Cowie leads 647. You've got 593. The claim is a little different. What are you guys thinking? Is there a long-term strategy for the remainder of the season? Are you going to try to do what you got to do to win a national championship or a world championship?
Well, that's definitely the goal at the beginning of the year is thinking national-wise. And I think we've entered the Dallas race and the Charlotte race, and we're just going to take it one lap at a time, try and put our best foot forward, and just kind of approach it one round at a time. And if we do well at those two races, we have one more claim left. We'll take it out west.
Wow, that would be cool. Now, is it as much fun? Are you having as much fun as you were running the Lucas Oil, like the 90 category, Super Comp, Super Gas, where you are, a killer out there and the driver controls most everything? The car is supposed to run down the track, right? And you are manipulating the throttle to close up the finish line stripe to a couple of thou. You're letting go of the button to have a 00 light. It's driver, the car. We see drivers swap cars and still be successful. This is very different. This is the car. You got to believe on time and you got to control it. But if you don't have a horse that will run, it's very hard to win a race.
It's an absolute blast. The drivers in the class is what makes this category so much fun. It's because they're all wonderful people. They're very passionate. Most of us have jobs and work for a living and then come out and do this. And you should see the amount of work these guys go through in a weekend. And it's just, there's just so much passion. And that's the whole reason I like Top Fuel and Top Alcohol Dragster and those classes, because it's a team. It's a group. It's a group that you can encourage and build relationships with and ultimately win championships and races with.
Wow, that is cool in that, when you're out there big money bracket racing or running a .90 category, it's you and probably one helper, maybe.
It's fun then too, which, I raced with a gentleman named Justin Beaver, and we've been racing together the bracket cars like this for a while, and to join a team that's bigger, it's definitely different, but I really like it. Pappy always told us as kids, Jake Sr., he always said that you win with people, and your people make this possible. I just have always enjoyed that fact and want to be a part of a large team.
That is great. Great stuff. Very cool. Congratulations on your first NHRA national event win at the top alcohol dragster level. I have a feeling they're going to keep on coming. And yes, second in the point standing, so you can go out there and continue to do some damage. It's not going to be a Sean Cowie runaway or a Joey Severance runaway like it had been the past couple of years. Very interesting to see how it all plays out. Now, let me shift gears a little bit on you, Troy. Your dad stayed retired for a total of like 3 races. Maybe a little more, but I'm sure you're happy to have him out there racing again.
I had a bet in the office here at JAGS that he would be back by June. And we'll just put it this way, I won the bet.
You won the bet. That's great.
It's a lot of fun. We know how much he loves the fast door slammers, and he's, in my opinion, of course it's biased, but I think he's one of the best drivers in the class and somebody that's got the ability and it's up to him. Whatever he wants to do, we support him 100%. We're just lucky to call him Dad.
There you go. And he'll be back out there this weekend. Troy, congratulations on your win. Thanks for making some time. Extremely short notice, everybody. You have no idea how short notice this was. Troy Coughlin Jr. coming on the show. Troy, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Congratulations on this win. It's huge.
Hey, it's always awesome coming on the show. We appreciate what you do for us.
Thanks, Troy. Troy Coughlin with us here on WFO Radio. He is your top alcohol dragster winner. Now it's time to move on over to top alcohol funny car. So many cool things going on this past weekend. We got to take some time, though, to catch up with the man who won the Chevrolet Performance U.S. Nationals in top alcohol funny car and backed it up with a win at the Grove. Sean Bellemeur is back. Sean, congratulations.
Thanks, man. Not to put anything down against winning Maple Grove, but God, I still get chills when you talk about Indy. That one was an absolute dream come true from the time of being a little boy, and then just to follow up with Maple Grove. I mean, I talked last year when we were able to win Maple Grove how important and special that was. It's just I'm riding on a cloud right now.
And I am so happy that you were able to go on and win Maple Grove, in that we did not catch up with you after Indy. So it's a logical progression. And this car is running so good.
I wasn't going to try real hard, but then I remembered we didn't get a chance to catch up, so I figured I'd try extra hard just so I could be on your show, Joe.
There you go. Oh, of course. I think, all the listeners believe everything you're saying. Now, we've had you on several times, though, over the course of the year, and you've been, marching towards a championship. The whole reason you got together with the Bartone brothers full time was to chase a championship. You'd had great success in a part-time gig with them over the past couple of years, getting your first cowboy hat down there in Texas, etc. I remember that. But this, you were on a mission, and it looks like you're on target to battle for that championship, having taken over the points lead.
Yeah, we're just trying to take literally one run at a time. There's too many good cars out here. We've seen it, if you have any history at all in this sport, whether it be in the professional ranks with the countdown or the sportsman ranks, how many times has it come down to the last run of the year? And there's no reason that can't happen again this year. I'd love to tell you we'd lock it up like next run because my nerves can't handle too much more than this. But, it's getting together with Tony and Steve Boggs. And, Tony Bartone has literally handpicked people from throughout the country that he believes are the best and has assembled this team, and they show it. I'm enjoying every second of it. I've become friends with these guys. And, a good friend of mine, hard racer named Bob DeVore, great crew chief, who is also one of my best friends. And he gave me some advice a long time ago about how important the attitudes of the team and the brotherhood is off of the racetrack and how that relays into success on the track. And I think that's a good part of why we're being so successful this year too. We are one team, all with the same goal. I've made a lot of friends out of this deal, and boy, it's just turned into a great season over and above winning races. Made some friends, had a lot of laughs, and we're having a good time and just trying to get to Pomona and stay ahead of everybody else. Now,
in terms of the claiming process, are you going to do the Vegas Pomona thing? Is that part of your scheduled plan?
Yeah, we were originally earlier in the year supposed to go to the first Charlotte race in Atlanta. And we had some internal things happen to where we couldn't make those two races. So the scheduling got jockeyed around a little bit, and And so we're basically going to hit everything for the rest of the year. We're going to Dallas, going to Charlotte, both Vegases, Pomona. I like the Vegas Pomona thing because it's close to home for me, and I can bring my family and stuff like that. That'll be cool. And so, Tony likes coming out west as well. And Tony loves racing. Tony loves winning, and he's showing it by taking his car out and running a lot.
That is awesome, and the car runs very well every time out. What was your toughest race of this particular event?
I don't know. I mean, we were lucky enough to qualify low. I'll tell you what, just kind of precursoring all that 544 that Steve Boggs put up on the board in that qualifying lap, which kind of set up the whole weekend for us because it qualified us low. Mike Burns and the Chicken Chokers guys unfortunately had a really serious and thankfully not harmful incident off of the racetrack that led them to not be able to race their car competitively, and thankful everybody's okay there. But we ended up with bye run because we were supposed to race Mike first round, and second round against Chris Houle. I don't know what it is about Houle.
The best comeback racer in the history of drag racing.
Wasn't that something? That happened right behind me, and I was down at the top end, jumping up and down on that, watching the screen on that. That was so cool. I mean, nothing against DJ Cox, but either way, whoever would have won that race, that was one of the most exciting things I've ever witnessed. But anyway, Houle, him and his brother Kevin, man, they just find ways to win, and they're sneaky. You gotta be on your A game against them because, I mean, shoot, they'd been struggling all weekend long, whip out a 554 against us. I mean, had we hiccup at all, we're losers. And then, in the semis, we were able to get a bye, and old Boggs turned the wick up, and it took the tire off, and that's okay. But, and then you get Phil Burkhardt in the final. I mean, we're talking about 2 top 10 cars. I mean, who do you pick is harder to beat? Those guys are awesome, and that's why they're there. Everybody that goes rounds are tough to beat. So, it's Steve Boggs always says, I don't care if you're racing against the number 16 qualifier or the number 2 qualifier, you've got to go up there with the same mentality. And fortunately we did and was able to get it done.
Great run, Sean. Congratulations on the victory. Thank you for taking the time. I know you got a class. You're about to teach a class, right? What is this class in?
Well, yeah, I work for a company called Mastercam. We do computer software. So I've actually got 8 students in today that I'm teaching how to use the software. They're actually looking at me right now. So this working stuff gets all the way in the way of all the fun. But Mastercam has a big background inside of motorsports. The Schumachers use it, the Forces use it, and build a lot of parts. So it all kind of ties together. But enjoy it. And as always, Joe, I look forward to talking to you more.
Sean, congratulations on your win, winning Indy, winning Maple Grove. You're on a run. Good luck in the remainder of the season.
Thanks, Joe. See you soon.
Sean Bellemeur with us here on WFO Radio. Huge win out there at Indy. Big win out there at Maple Grove. Takes the points lead. Going to battle for the championship. Plus Troy Coughlin before that, your Lucas Oil alcohol winners. And that brings us to the tail end of the show. Some breaking news after I spoke with Alan Reinhart. Breaking news, tail end of the show, just to recap what you heard very beginning of the program. Team Coletta owner Connie Coletta has decided that effective immediately, Jim Oberhofer has been released from Coletta Motorsports and his position as crew chief for the Mac Tools Top Fuel Dragster driven by Doug Coletta. That came out late in the afternoon, and shocking development, frankly. Oberhofer has been, this is directly from the release, coming from Coletta Motorsports. Oberhofer has been a member of Coletta Motorsports for over 30 years and has held numerous positions, including VP of Operations, as well as being a crew chief for Doug Coletta's Dragster. He's helped secure multiple top 10 points finishes as a veteran driver. Quote from Connie, I want to thank Jim for his years at Coletta Motorsports and appreciate everything he has accomplished here. I wish him the best in the future, said team owner Coletta. Troy Fashing will serve as crew chief for the Mac Tools team for the remaining 5 races of the NHRA Countdown beginning this weekend in St. Louis. Coletta currently sits 6th in the standings, 116 points behind leader Steve Torrence. Wow, shocking breaking news. And what does that, what does it mean? What does it all mean? I'm having trouble putting it all together, in fact, just because the roller coaster ride of emotions at Coletta Motorsports, 100th win and then this. But Connie Coletta, what can you say? We say it all the time, and we're going to speak with Alan Reinhart next week on the show. And, sometimes you got to shake things up. And maybe Connie Coletta said to himself, you know what, I'm going to shake some things up. And Jim O has been a big part of that team. And, I cannot separate my feelings for, cool people that I have met. Like, oh, wow, really? I'm kind of shocked. But this is also a big business. This is, getting shocked in this business is par for the course. It happens all the time. And this is not the last time. So obviously we wish Jim O, the best of luck, and I have a feeling he's going to resurface somewhere immediately, but I have no idea where, what he's thinking. I know his brother Jono still at the team, leading the points in Funny Car. Just a wow moment, right? Wow moment, tail end of WFO. And there you go. How about that for ending off the news? I do want to say, Alan Reinhart did kind of key everybody in on this program that I was not out there at Maple Grove. It was a last-second decision, very last second. And what I will say is this. I was shocked and stunned that so many people reached out to me to tell me they missed me. And when I pick up the microphone, I'm a talk radio guy. You got to understand this. I am a drag racer, bracket racer. I love driving myself. And I will work on cars as best as I can. And I started out as a track announcer early on. And then I went into a talk radio career, sports talk, general talk radio, dealing with callers, battling with callers, yelling at people, entertainment stuff. I went on to XM. I worked at NASCAR radio. I did some NHRA stuff. And this position found me. The position found me. Never considered myself a drag racing announcer. I bring a totally different style to the deal. This year has been a fun and great year. I was looking forward to going to all the races. When at middle of last week, I found out that Maple Grove was not going to be on the table for me. Granted, I was disappointed. But the good news is I was able to, here I am, right? There's worse problems than that, I assure you. But the positive thing that comes out of it was I never knew. There were some people who come up and say that they like my work, but when it happens in mass, when you receive texts and calls and emails and Facebook messages and Twitter messages and behind the scenes, and people are all reaching out to you saying support, what's up? Where are you? Why aren't you here? What's the story? Why did this happen? That is, wow, it's heartening. It's heartening. And, who knows what the future will hold? Who knows? What is down the long and winding twisty road. Look at Jim Oberhofer. Look at this situation. Who would have guessed that 5 hours ago? Not me. I wouldn't have. I would have figured they would have gone through the countdown and battled it out and had a shot. Who knows? So you just got to keep on riding, baby. Kind of keep on riding. But for those people that said nice things, thank you. Thank you for doing that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It means a lot. It means a lot. That's going to do it. Thanks to all our great guests. I think we had a pretty good show this week. Hopefully it is acceptable to you. Alan Reinhart, Steve Torrence, J.R. Todd, Vincent Nobile, Hector Arana Jr., Brian Massingill from SAMTech.edu, and Troy Coughlin Jr. and Sean Bellemeur, all on the show. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guests on this podcast. People tell me, keep them as long as possible. This one is definitely going to get you to St. Louis. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thank you so much. Remember, if you had the new WFO radio app, the next show would just automatically play. That's number one. And number two, the Ignition Show is highly entertaining. Highly entertaining. People love it. There's things that will make you laugh and things that will make you cry. That's going to do it. We'll see you next time. I hope to see you in St. Louis. WFO.
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO radio.